My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. Jakey and I are going to break down the entire UFC 297 fight card. We're going to give you our picks, our predictions, our bets, and our DraftKings plays. But before I do, let's look at the domination that was UFC Vegas 84.
Look,
Jacob and I crushed.
I even got my graphic too.
Last week, up 5+ units. Lock of the week hit $10 a month, and that is true. We crushed. On the left, you'll see the summary of everything that we did. His underdog lock of the week hit, my premium member safety parlay hit, all the bets hit, everything hit. On the right is every single bet we put on the board. I only missed the Ricky Simone one. That sucked, but I still gave you ROI of 45%. Jakey Boy had a couple of small chasing odds type flyers.
Well,
actually, Phil Hawes wasn't, but
that Preston Parsons should have fucking hit, man.
That was close. That was close.
He had a couple of those in there. And Johnny Walker, I think he won the first round. I think it was a little bit of an early stoppage. So
either way, actually, these bets are a perfect view into the difference between me and Jacob. All of mine are money line and round line leaves, like very safe. Jacob takes a few more chances with a couple of the other stuff. Both of us did really well overall.
My testosterone and my semen, right? I can generate.
I have. It's just not live. A vasectomy doesn't remove the goo. It's just not effective anyway.
I would like to see you prove it.
This we just said before we went live. This is a big week. A lot of new viewers. Let's have a good show.
Let's be positive. I'm being positive. I would love to see. And
you just immediately start talking about like that.
You're the one that brought it up.
Yogurt?
I didn't bring that up.
Okay. Anyway, we dominated last week, but we weren't the only ones who did. So did premium members. The $23,000 in winning tickets were sent our way by premium members to say, hey, look what I did. This is just a sample. You can see every single one of these tickets in the Discord. Discord's 100% free. There is a channel that only premium members can post in called Winning Tickets where they share their domination. And premium members, if you haven't heard that term before, they go to WeWantPicks.com, they pay $10 a month, and they have full access to every single thing that we do, including all those bets you just saw on the previous slide, and including the safety parlay. I invented the safety parlay, first of all. I own safetyparlay.com. This is a term that I invented.
Sue the fucking shit out of you.
I honestly should.
Cease and desist letters are on the way.
People say safety parlay. Like lock of the week is a very common thing to say, but you're the only person that ever used it as an underdog. You don't use it in the literal term. You use it as an underdog.
Because again, I still have my balls. I can still blast semen across the room.
Stop saying semen, dude. It's so early in the stream to be saying
like the stream if you haven't already. If you're not having fun, like the stream. Or you're gonna. I
would love to know if you heard him say semen the first time and then immediately left. Please just comment before you go so we can know what things Jacob should stop saying. Anyway, safety parlay continues to be a shining star in the MMA betting world. I mean, it just is. It hits at over a 70% win rate.
Oh.
Somebody knocked on the front door. Who is knocking on the front door? I mean,
big stream too, man. This is it. We fucked it up. First pay-per-view, it's already
not
over.
We. The Amazon delivery man did.
Oh, well, he's just a hard-working dude.
Tiff, get that under control, Tiff.
Tiff, shake a leg, woman.
Premium safety parlay continues to be a shining star in the betting. Get it under control.
Come on, Tiffany. God damn it.
Jacob's only talking like that because he knows she cannot hear him. He is terrified. He is terrified of my wife.
I'll say it to her face.
Anyway. Safety parlay continues to dominate. It hits at a 70% win rate. I have gone 5-1 in the last 6 pay-per-view events. I have hit 7 of the last 8 parlays. I've actually hit 8 of the last 9 because last week I gave you 2 parlays. The base was identical in both, and then I added Norma Dumont to the third leg. The Norma fight dropped, so it basically was the same parlay twice. But anyway, safety parlay continues to be a resounding success. I will say this with caution. As I'm asking you to sign up to become a premium member, this week's a little sketchy. This week, go to the website, check out the safety parlay. I put a whole note of how I ended up on that safety parlay. Read that note and then decide what you want to do. WeWantPicks.com. It's only $10 a month. You will unlock the safety parlay. You will unlock the line. Do not play audio. That's going to... What are you doing?
What?
You will unlock the line movement tracker. This is going to give you the opening odds, current odds, win probability, and line movement for every single fighter on every single card. You're going to get the detailed data, metrics, and analytics. This is currently 38 columns of data, insight, and information. Last 5. Striking numbers, grappling numbers, defense, offense. You can work your way across, find prop bets that make sense. We are adding columns to this. 38 isn't enough, Jakey boy. We're going to add average fight minutes. We're going to add all sorts of stats that'll help you work through your round line leans and things of that nature. But right now, this is up, ready to go for UFC 297. You're also going to need a DraftKings optimizer. If you play DraftKings Fantasy, this will build DraftKings lineups for you. It'll build up to 150 lineups for you with just literally 2 clicks of a button. And if you watch the DraftKings video, you know that we have $400,000 of winning tickets from premium members in the last couple of months. And you're going to get far more than me and Baby Red over here. You're going to get Artem breaking down far more than just UFC. You're going to get the Pick Doctor, who has developed an AI. We have an AI, Pick GPT. That is our AI picking fights based solely off of historical data. You're going to get the MMA Minute. He's got 30,000 followers on TikTok and Running Mouth MMA. This is Jacob setting up his Tinder profile picture. Look at me. I'm a podcaster.
Oh, I don't need Tinder anymore, Angelo, because I don't know. Are you done with your little rant?
WeWantPicks.com. It is only $10 a month. You'll unlock that and so much more. We have almost 3,000 premium members. This may be the week that gets us over the edge. Thank every single one of you. I appreciate you. Now to the free stuff. Follow our socials. Costs you $0 to follow any of the socials. And I would recommend it because at any moment, YouTube may say, you know what? We don't like betting content. Delete. So make sure you follow all the socials. It'll cost you nothing. We do have a second YouTube channel. It's at PicksNation. And then if you want to send mail, here is the address. We have had people send us letters, send hot sauces, shirts, and other stuff like that. We open up the mail on every single vlog, and we film a vlog for every single pay-per-view. There's a pay-per-view this weekend. We will be filming a vlog, and if there's mail, we will be opening it. Here's the address if you want to send something. Obviously, we'll read the letters, wear the shirts, do all the things. Thank you so much. What were you going to say, Jacob Heimer Schmidt?
No, this is very important because you were making fun of me for taking selfies here and taking, pictures, but it's important for me to stay active on the socials, right? Just like YouTube, to stay in the algorithm, you got to keep it going, and we grind better than anyone, Angelo, right? I mean, we are
two of the hardest working people in this space.
The second hardest working person I know. Well, I think it's Josh, and then actually you're probably the third, so it's probably Josh, and then me. And then there's probably more, and then you, as far as hardworking people. But as far as like activating socials, it's the same thing. You gotta stay active on Twitter. You gotta stay active on Instagram. So I am getting pictures ready to post on the Instagram. And this is the big news. But
can we hurry up with this?
I'm verified now on Instagram. So
let me ask you a question, Jakey boy.
I have a blue check on my I'll take a picture right now. So
wow.
If you guys want to follow me on Instagram, on Twitter, now I'm verified, actually both. I mean, we're doing big things, man.
Okay. They just reached out and said you're a notable figure. Let's verify you.
I mean, we have over 20,000 subscribers, almost 4 million views now, and they were like, "Listen, we got to get that. We got to get that blue check mark by your name."
That's interesting. It's interesting. So they gave you a blue check, and it's free. This check mark. You didn't. It's not a purchasable item. It's
I just happened to. I just filled out this form and I double clicked my home button and.
Okay. You double click my home button on your iPhone 8. Why is there a home button? Anyway, let's move on.
My lock button, and then I got a blue check. So
it verified my face. It said something about PayPal, and now I'm verified. Congratulations on all your success.
Thanks for looking up for me, baby. Already
made it.
Oh my God, the DMs are fucking. Look how wet this water just dripping from my phone.
Ew, dude. All right. Wow, your fifth semen reference already.
That wasn't semen.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, that's so. Whoa.
Let's go ahead.
Where your mind went.
Okay. We have 170 something live viewers between Twitch and YouTube. Thank you all very much for joining us. We've only been at it for a couple of minutes. Let's go ahead and break down this card. Opening up UFC 297. We have Malcolm Gordon taking on Jimmy Flick. Malcolm Gordon is the Canadian on the Canadian card here, and he has become a good-sized favorite over the last 12 hours. Yesterday, this was close-ish to even. This morning, I did these graphics this morning. This morning, when I updated these odds, minus 160 favorite. That's quite the movement. But we got Malcolm Gordon, 14-7 overall, 2-3 in his last 5, coming off back-to-back stoppage losses. He's taking on Jimmy Flick, 16-7 overall, 3-2 in his last 5. And he's also coming off back-to-back losses, this time knockout losses. And that was after his return to the cage from a long layoff. This is an interesting matchup. These guys are very, very similar in style, right? Malcolm Gordon's a BJJ black belt. Striking is actually pretty good. He's got a really high striking guard. He likes to come forward, but that does leave him open to be taken down, but he doesn't really care because he wants to be on the ground. He is a BJJ black belt. Even if he's having success striking, he'll go ahead and wrestle. He doesn't even attempt to defend takedowns. His takedown defense is abysmal at 9%. He's got a low takedown accuracy as well, offensively at only 30%. He does have a suspect chin, so standing there and banging is not his path to victory. It is to get people to the ground and work from there. He's coming off that 1-minute knockout loss to Jake Hadley. He's taking on Jimmy Flick. He's also a grappler, but a far more aggressive grappler than Malcolm Gordon. He'll take risks. He will fly for submissions. He will do whatever he can to chase that sub. He's got okay takedowns. He averages almost 2 per fight. His striking is stiff. It's not very good. He's got a negative striking differential of 2 to 5, meaning for every 2 strikes he lands, he eats 5. He's coming off 2 bad losses in a row. The first was a knockout loss to Charles Johnson. I think we know by now, Charles Johnson, probably not UFC caliber, even though he is talented, and never had power. So knocking out Jimmy Flick is not a great look for Flick, but okay. He was coming back after a 2-year layoff. He just got knocked out by Alessandro Costa. Okay, Alessandro Costa's young, dangerous, all those things. Ultimately, Jimmy Flick is a dangerous grappler who's not a very good striker. I am going to pick him to win this fight. And it goes against the odds, and it goes against conventional wisdom of Malcolm Gordon's the Canadian on a Canadian card, and the UFC honestly looked at their roster and said, who can Malcolm Gordon beat? Let's give him somebody he can beat at home. Jimmy Flick's the only name they can come up with. And I'm not being rude to Malcolm Gordon because he showed us how good he can be. Malcolm Gordon does have a few losses in the UFC, but they are good losses. Jake Hadley doesn't suck. Sumanerji doesn't suck. Amir Albazi is very good. Muhammad Makayev potentially could be very good. So those are quality losses. The problem is the only reason I'm picking Jimmy Flick to win is just a clash of styles. If I could trust Malcolm Gordon to keep this fight standing, then he's the clear pick, but he's got a 9% takedown defense, and he offensively wrestles as well. On the ground, Jimmy Flick's going to be the better grappler. Jimmy Flick is going to be the pick here. Do nothing with that information. Do absolutely nothing. Spend no money on this fight. This could be 3 rounds of sloppy nonsense. This could be 2 seconds of throwing punch. Do nothing with that information. But Jimmy Flick is going to be the pick. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Yeah, can you do me a favor real quick and just kind of roll your chair back, stand up and say, get out of my swamp. Get out of my swamp.
Are you calling me Shrek?
If you don't mind, if you could just
push the
chair back.
All, just slimming.
Please oblige me. Push the chair
slimming.
back. Stand. Green is not. Green is not it. Say,
this is
get out of my swamp.
Prosper Green, first of all. Second of all, dude, I'm down. Dude, I stopped drinking New Year's Day, and I am slim, hydrated, and ready to beat your ass.
You think so, huh?
I'm positive. Look at the face. It is round no more, my friend.
The round mound of rebound.
Can you go ahead and break down this fight?
Honestly, you kind of said everything I was going to say. So, I mean, Malcolm Gordon probably is the better striker. He's probably going to get way too aggressive, shoot a takedown, get swept, or get submitted from Jimmy Flick's guard. And I think Jimmy Flick's going to win this. But I agree that it's a close fight. And Jimmy Flick, both these guys are very hard guys to trust. Jimmy Flick definitely is better in the striking than people give him credit for. And I know he did get kind of smoked by Charles, but that was after a 2 or 3 year layoff. It is what it is. You know, sometimes you got to get back in the feeling of taking shots. And he saw in his last fight, I mean, that dude was eating leg kicks, but he showed toughness. I mean, most of the time, you eat 3 or 4 and you're done. He tried to work through it, got out of the round, went to his corner, and was like, I'm good, man. I'm good. I mean, he showed some real toughness. So, yeah, he is kind of a jiu-jitsu nerd. I kind of mentioned in my quick pick video. He's not really like those soft-ass jiu-jitsu nerds, right? I mean, because a lot of them will roll on their back.
He's not Claudio Puelles.
Yeah, that's exactly right? So him and Ryan Hall, these guys are actually tough dudes in their jiu-jitsu. And, excuse me.
Ryan Hall's a pussy. Well, go ahead.
No, we're not.
Okay. Jason Kelsey. Watch if I give a shit that this kid left. So we both picked Jimmy Flick because we both think he's the better grappler in this matchup, and I think that's going to be enough. Jacob is unreasonably obsessed with Ryan Hall, and I think we'd all agree Ryan Hall, not very good. DraftKings-wise, this is a weird fight. $8,300 for Malcolm Gordon, $7,900 for Jimmy Flick, and that's going to be tricky because I don't know. He's calling me. Yeah, can I help you? Hey, Jacob, I'm sorry. Can you come back and do the show that we get paid to do? Yeah, suppose so. Fucking Muppet. $8,300 in DraftKings for Malcolm Gordon, $7,900 in DraftKings for Jimmy Flick. It's going to be tricky because I think whoever wins this fight is going to score well in DraftKings. I don't think this is going to be a sloppy 3-round decision. I do think we'll end up with a very clear winner that doesn't go to scorecards. But even if we end up with a sloppy decision, there's going to be a whole bunch of grappling and a whole bunch of control time. So I'm on the Flick side. I wish he was a little more affordable than $7,900, but I do think whoever wins this fight is going to spend some or win some money in DraftKings. I just don't know what side I'm on, so I don't know if I'm going to do it. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't mind the 7,900 because I think it feels like if there is a finish here, it's probably going to be on the Jimmy Flick side. He can probably withstand the grappling of Malcolm Gordon if Malcolm is just able to stay on top and stay safe. So there's definitely a finish upside with Jimmy Flick, but I think there might be better spots on this card, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I hear you. I do wish he was I would have preferred a little more than 7,900 or a little less than 7,900, right? These minus 160 odds translate, I don't know, 8,500. Give me 7,700 on this side. But either way, if you want to see the full DraftKings breakdowns, you're going to get all of our bets for this card, but you're also going to get DraftKings insight, DraftKings ownership projections, tools, information, everything else you could ever need to find your spots, make some money, and have some success watching fights. Just go to WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member at the top. It is only $10 a month. A couple of comments here. D noticed how slim I have become. Thank you, D. That is appreciated. Jacob, listen, I will say, so I drank a little too much New Year's Eve. New Year's Day was very hungover. I'm 40, so I don't rebound. I'll take this off the screen. I don't Okay, Jacob's like 38. I don't rebound.
What? 38.
Okay. Well, you're not 36. Shit. You're not 36.
Right.
Yeah, so anyway, I thought I was just hungover. Turns out I had the flu. And then I was sick for a few days, and so I obviously didn't drink. And I was like, let's see how long I can go. My neighbor's sort of doing the same thing. I almost drank last night. I haven't drank in
Tell me you didn't drink this weekend. Go ahead.
I swear to God.
Look in the camera and say it.
I swear to God, I haven't had a sip of alcohol since New Year's Eve.
Put your hand out. Yeah, because you've been drinking all weekend.
That's why
you should be shaking like a leaf. You should be shaking like a leaf with scabbies everywhere. This dude was getting hammered all weekend. Look at him.
A crackhead.
Let's see your track marks.
Anyway, yeah, Jesus. So last night I was bored out of my mind yesterday. We were basically home all weekend for the most part. We went out to dinner one night. Like we were home it was insanely cold. Like we didn't do a ton this weekend. So I watched fights all Saturday, whatever. So yesterday was Monday. Kids are home because it's Martin Luther King.
I was working Saturday.
Oh, congrats. It was super cold out. We didn't do anything yesterday. Like we basically, I left the house to get a couple things and came back. So by like 5 o'clock, football's on. I am bored out of my mind. And I texted the neighbor. I'm like, I'm going to crack, dude. I'm going to have a drink. Like this is stupid. I proved I can go. I went, like I'm going to have a drink.
You know,
this is
it
dumb.
kind of breaks my heart here is because there's some people that would die to have, a nice family and, a loving wife and you're just in a house with them and you would rather turn to alcohol. And that really breaks my heart because there are people out there that are just in a, penthouse apartment, just 15, 16-foot ceilings.
There are ginger
just
people.
Sitting there in front of their 194-inch TV and their big L-shaped leather couch. I mean, it's a $15,000 couch, and they're just sitting there all alone, and you've got this nice family that you don't even want to enjoy.
First of all, I don't drink until after the kids are in bed. Second of all, the kids are why I drink. But anyway, I was bored. I texted the neighbor. I'm like, I'm going to have a drink. And he was like, why? Just drink your tea, which is so... I started drinking tea. It's so feminine. Dude, the tea I drank last night was lemon loaf cake. Like it's so feminine. I'm so
lemon
British.
Loaf cake sounds fantastic.
It smelled fantastic. It tasted fantastic. It was great. So I poured the wine. I loaded the cup with ice. I poured the wine. It felt like good old days. And then I was doing laundry or something real quick. I came back to it. I'm like, no. If I drink right now, I'm gonna be pissed at myself. So I poured it out. Didn't drink it. I will probably drink this Saturday though. I'm going till I'm gonna drink at UFC 27. I'm going till this Saturday. It's fucking stupid not to.
Can I read out loud what D said and then what I said, if you don't mind? You can proofread if you want. So, tell Jacob it's hard being Playboy Bachelor. We live lonely nights. And then I responded with, that's a pretty good line, huh?
Jesus.
When I'm not inside someone, there's nothing inside me.
Jesus.
Oh, shit.
Right,
so true, though. So true.
Next up at UFC 297, we have Jasudavicius taking on Priscila Cachoeira. Jasmine Jasudavicius. We love her here. Big fan. 9-3 overall, 3-2 in her last 5, coming off that decision loss to Tracy Cortez. That was a very close fight. A couple of strikes here and there are the difference between winning and losing that fight. She's taking on Priscila Cachoeira. 12-5 overall, 3-2 in her last 5. She's coming off that submission loss to Miranda Maverick. I mentioned we love Jasmine here. We famously got a ton of shit when we picked Jasmine to beat Miranda. Every video we film, this right now, we slice it, we tweet it, we tag the fighter. That's what we do. We're talking about people. Let's include them in the conversation. And people annihilated us for doing that. That tweet went viral, a couple 100,000 impressions. We ended up being correct because Jasmine dominated that fight. And it's because she's such a good wrestler. You're not going to outdog her. You're not going to bully her. You're not going to take her down. Jasmine is a bad bitch who can wrestle. She likes to come forward. She will push a pace. She will strike, and then she will work in her takedown. She's got solid clinch work, good control. She throws heavy knees, and she'll work in takedowns either out in the open cage or against the actual fence itself. She was an actual wrestler, then started fighting. She's not one of these people that took up MMA and learned all the things. Like her teammate, Mike Malott, who we'll break down later. She was a wrestler, then became a fighter. And that's why her wrestling is so good. She's taking on Priscila Cachoeira. Priscilla is a powerful striker. She's got heavy pressure herself. She throws big, heavy punches. She's got real power for this division, but she is knockout or bust. If she's not taking her head off, she's likely going to lose a decision or be submitted. If you look at the stats, you'll notice that Priscilla's striking differential of 4-7. So even though she's this big, heavy, powerful brawler, she's only landing 4 strikes to every 7 she gets hit with. She is a bully. She's never the more skilled fighter in the cage, but she does have physicality. She does have good pressure. The wild comparison that I keep making is similar to Jessica Andrade. I say wild because Jessica is like former champion, has actually accomplished things. But she's similar to Jessica Andrade where she's never the more skilled fighter, but oftentimes she's the stronger one, more powerful one, the grittier one. She can come forward and bang it out. Very simple breakdown for me. If you can take Priscilla down, you can beat Priscilla. It's almost that simple. I think only Gina Mazzani took her down and then ended up getting knocked out later. Jasmine is not chinny. Jasmine is tough. Jasmine will stay in your face. She will grind. She is my most confident pick on this card. I think she's the biggest favorite on this card. And there's not, and that's only minus 400, which tells you a lot about how tough this card is. I'm insanely confident in Jasmine. I'm not worried about the striking at all. Obviously, we can trust the wrestling. We can trust all those things. So Jasmine's my most confident pick. I do have her in a parlay. I'll give you the other half when we get to that fight, but I'm very confident in Jasmine. I almost put her in my safety parlay. The one and only reason I did not put her in my safety parlay is because of what Jake is about to tell you right now. Go ahead, Jake.
The reason why she's not in the safety parlay is because Priscila, as people have mentioned, looks just like Drew Dober. I mean, that's an incredible chin, incredible jawline, and what a beautiful woman she is. I mean, that's a hot woman in my mind, and Priscila Cachoeira. Nothing against Jasmine. Jasmine beautiful as well.
Something fell.
I want you to put your chest to the microphone, if you don't mind. If you don't mind, just see if we can do it. See if we can.
No, it's smooth heart, baby. Go ahead. Something fell off my freaking... Jesus. Go ahead.
Did you ever tell me the stream about your irregular heartbeat?
All right, these are all lies. Go ahead, do the breakdown.
So both these females are very beautiful. And I will say that, obviously, I mean, everyone knows the path to victory, right? Jasmine should get the takedowns, get the top control, keep the top control. Don't get too aggressive with the submissions. But honestly, you kind of can, because Priscila, I will admit, is, I don't want to say clueless off her back, but she doesn't really go anywhere. If you get her flat on her back, whether you're in half guard, full guard, side control, whatever it is, you can pretty much keep control there, even not even being a dominant wrestler as Jasmine is. So if she gets in those positions, she definitely can do that. So I will say this, Jasmine, if you're listening, we are big fans of you, me and Angelo and the rest of the channel in general. And I'll be rooting for you. I am a big fan of yours. I think Angelo's a fan of yours. Don't brawl. I'm telling you right now, Jasmine, I know that this is in front of your home fans. I know that you are a tough son of a bitch, right? You are a very tough girl. You probably can eat the shots that she's going to give you, return, and maybe even find a finish of your own on the feet. I believe that there is a possibility you can do that. But that is her only path to victory, is getting in a brawl. You do not want to brawl with a brawler. And if you start brawling with Priscila, she does possess that power that you may think you can eat it. But if you don't, now all of a sudden you're getting finished in front of your home fans. Jasmine, touch, 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 level change, get those takedowns, get the control. Let's get the win. Let's get out of here. Let's move up those rankings. I think it's a little bit more dangerous than people are saying, because as I'm speaking to Jasmine right now, I know there's going to be a moment in that fight where she's going to want to brawl, because she does brawl people. She does get hit. She walks through it. She's tough as shit, and she might be able to do it against Priscila. I don't know why you would want to give Priscila that chance when the path to victory is just so obvious. I'm going to take Jasmine in this fight. I do trust her to get the job done, because we've seen her in positions get the job done before. But if she starts brawling, she could fuck this up. So I'm going Jasmine, though.
Yeah, I mean, we're on the same side, but you were like, Then he kept sending me, he sent me 100 different video clips.
Well,
of
Priscila is
defending
better
takedowns.
She has better takedown defense than once she gets down, she's fucked. But defending the takedown, she has better takedown defense than people give her credit for. So, but Jasmine she should be able to get the takedowns.
Yeah, she's a very legitimate wrestler. So I'm very, very confident in Jasmine. Like I said, the parlay that she's in right now that's available for premium members was going to be the safety parlay. It's not. I made a new one, but
I mean,
I'm that confident in Jasmine.
You have a plus 285 dog whose TKO KO line is only at plus 400. Typically, that would be plus 700, plus 800, plus 900 for almost 301 dog. So even the books are
because they know it's the only way that she could win.
I know, but she's already. I mean, that's close to the money line bet for the TKO. So it's like the books know as well.
Well, because that's her only way to win. So yeah, that's how this.
Only way to win. You sound like stupid fuck. Let's be more positive in 2024.
Yeah. Let's clean it up. A little bit of respect goes a long way. We're both on the Jasmine side. I am far more confident than Jacob. I don't even see the world where Jasmine gets caught and knocked out. What's the problem?
That's a little bit of dad voice. I have flashbacks. I'll be honest with you.
I bet. I thought your dad didn't talk to you.
When he did, it was with a tone. It was with a nice stern tone, you could say.
Anyway, $9,500 in DraftKings, $6,700 in DraftKings. I think Jasmine could cover that $9,500, but we are going to need her to wrestle. Without the wrestling, there's no way she covers. So I think she will cover because I think she can get some takedowns. I think she can get a finish. Certainly a whole bunch of control time. So I do think Jasmine will cover. And I probably will have a lineup or two with her in it.
She should dominate. She should dominate. And I'm not saying she can't win on the feet, but I mean, she should dominate this fight for sure.
Shouldn't be trying to find out for sure.
What's that background, by the way? Just some random office building?
It's Toronto. It's yeah.
Just the first image, huh? We were talking
snowy.
about how hard we
No,
work and
it took me an
effort.
hour. It took me an hour. I wasn't gonna do the Canadian flag. That's too obvious. Then there's a bunch of like
An hour.
So,
Is that what you submitted? You submitted an hour of work to HR to find a picture of Toronto.
and I went with but a snowy, nice picture that doesn't clash with the.
It should have been Niagara Falls, like an icy Niagara Falls.
I don't think you know what a map looks like.
What are you talking about?
You think Niagara Falls is in Toronto?
Right outside of Toronto, yeah.
It ain't.
You go to Toronto. If you want to go to Niagara Falls, you go to Toronto or you go to Buffalo, and you just go right there.
It ain't.
Okay, let's look it up.
Good job. Anyway, if you want to become a premium member and unlock all the bets, the insight, the information, and everything else we do, WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member. It is only $10 a month. If you signed up last week and you paid your $10, we gave you units on top of units of profit. Hey, this week's included, baby.
It's a cab right away.
Yeah, it's a cab right away. Is it in Toronto?
It's right across the water.
Oh, okay. The important part.
Lake Ontario. It's right there.
Idiot. WeWantPicks.com, and it's only $10 a month. And like I said, it's a month. For every single card during that month, it is only $10. Not during that month, 30 days. WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member at the top. We do have a couple of super chats.
Somebody wanted you to explain your compression shirt for your chest surgery.
New York Rental sent $1.99. He said, I can tell Angelo. Oh, no. It says, tell Angelo you've been training with the Taffa brothers. Jacob can't throw a punch. Jacob, why don't you, thank you so much for that. Jacob, throw a punch. Let's see you throw a punch. Okay. That's it. That's the punch.
I mean, I'm orthodox, okay? And I'm southpaw right now, and I still got that fucking snappy jab. And I hit it from angles.
You barely erased the ink off the board.
With
your baby hands. You're bleeding. Your baby hands are bleeding, and you barely got ink off the board. Congratulations. That board is perfectly fine, by the way.
Oh, you see that?
That's from when you humped it on your live stream, not from right now.
You goddamn right. I put my dick right through that thing.
Okay, another $1.99 euros from Uber Night. He said, had a massive success last weekend. Thanks, guys. Well, we appreciate you, Uber Night. We had a great weekend as well, as did all of our premium members. Everything we did well. It was almost impossible to not do well if you were a premium member. Let's keep this energy, though, because, you know, this is sports betting and anything is possible. But we appreciate that, and we're certainly happy to have contributed to your success. Niagara is 1 hour from Toronto. But is it in Toronto? That's the point. It's not in Toronto. This is a backdrop.
That's what I said.
This is a backdrop.
Toronto.
It doesn't matter. The event is in a city. Every single time I do graphics for these events, because I don't know what people don't understand. I'm the one spending hours doing custom graphics. Every other lazy dick in his mother's basement has Tapology up.
Let it out. Come on.
I do a custom graphic instead of Tapology, and there's still comments. What a fucking joke. Toronto.
Every time you cover my face, we lose 10 people. Every second that goes by.
I bet. Next up, at UFC 297, we have Yohan Lainesse taking on Sam Patterson. Yohan Lainesse, 9-2 overall, 3-2 in his last 5. He's coming off the submission loss to Mike Malott. He's taking on Sam Patterson. Sam Patterson is 10-2 overall. He's 4-1 in his last 5, coming off that knockout loss to Yanal Ashmos in his UFC debut. And this is another interesting fight. What I was hoping to do, I'll tell you right now, I was hoping the parlay does not go the distance because there's no shot this fight goes the distance, but that line's juiced, and Bet Online, which is our preferred sportsbook, is not letting us parlay that, at least not yet. Anyway, we got Yohan Lainesse. This guy's a grappler, but he has insane one-punch knockout power in his hands as well. He can knock you out with a check hook. He can knock you out with an overhand. His striking is not very technical, but as I mentioned, he's got some very real power where he's winging punches, charging forward, and as soon as you think this is like a weird striking brawl, he's going to lower his level, shoot a double right up the middle. Once it hits the ground, he's going to work for control and start pounding away. Everything he does looks like it hurts. He's definitely on the slower side of the division, and he does tend to brawl. He's taking on Sam Patterson. This guy is long and lean for this division. He's 6'4", and while he's not using that striking length,
it's a different division.
He's 6'4". He's very long and lean for this division or the one above it. Doesn't matter which one. Idiot.
He was at the one below it. So.
It doesn't matter. For welter, shut the fuck up. Even if he was a middleweight, 6'4" is tall, long, and lean. He does not use that length very well, though. Not striking, at least. He can still get touched. But on the ground, he does use it really well. He'll wrap you up. He'll use those long guy techniques to get things going. He uses it really, really well, grabbing things, slowing you down, making stuff happen on the ground. On the feet, he does tend to back up. He can be chinny. He does have some power himself, but that's mostly because of that length and that leverage if he does get something long going. He is coming off that knockout loss to Yanal Ashmouz in his UFC debut where he was a massive favorite. And I do think this is a pretty hard fight to break down because both of these guys can be beaten. Sam's chin is suspect, as we just saw. Yohan Lainesse hits like a truck, as we know. Sam's got some slick BJJ. Yohan can get wrapped up. Yohan's going to be the favorite here, and I guess that makes sense, right? He's got the knockout power. His opponent was just knocked out. He's got some decent wrestling and jiu-jitsu. You can take this guy down. I am going to pick Yohan here, but I'm going to say low confidence because I think Sam Patterson is better than his UFC debut. I think he's better than that performance. I think Yanal just came forward, landed that one big punch, and that is what it is. But if Sam can somehow keep it technical, avoid takedowns, he'll piece up Yohan on the feet. He's the better striker for sure. He just has to avoid the power. But Yohan is going to be the pick. And I don't think this fight goes the distance no matter which way it goes. What do you think, Jakey boy?
People are saying that Yohan would look like you if he ate himself. That's what they're saying in the chat. Somebody said that.
I'm trying to find that comment. If I find it, I won't smack the shit out of you.
Yeah,
why don't you go ahead and break this fight down? Why don't you go ahead and... Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and break this fight down and remember you're coming over on Saturday.
I think they deleted it.
This is a wise decision.
You had a real layup there, but you got so pressed you couldn't really see it.
What was the layup? Sam Patterson looks like a better version of you.
I mean, that's why it would be funny if he said that because it's obviously he doesn't, which is why it's funny.
I mean, he's a much better looking version of you. About 9 inches taller.
He is albino.
Yeah, you're looking real tan right now.
Thank you.
Real tan.
Is that winter tan?
Yeah.
It's actually a windburn from the frostbite. But thank you. It does.
Sure.
The complexion looks good. Yeah.
Why don't you break down the fight? That'd be helpful.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. So, listen. Sam Patterson is a guy that at 155, with his 6'4", lean, lanky frame, that's where he was having his success because he was able to use that length, and he's actually pretty decent at using that length. Not only in the striking, right? He keeps that jab out there, but most importantly, in the grappling, he would get on top of these 155ers and just tarantula legs over top of them, and that's how he was winning fights. Now, after he got flatlined at 155, which that was not a good knockout. He was trying to He was trying to fight Marc-Andre for like 10 minutes after that stoppage. Really was trying to give it to Marc-Andre, and I kind of felt bad about that. But then comes to 170 to, I guess, try to fix his maybe chin issues. Maybe he blamed it on weight cut issues. That's why he got chin so bad in that fight. But now at 170, all his advantage is basically gone. Yohan is 6'1". He's not like this short 5'8" dude that just knocked him out. So the length is kind of gone, not only in the grappling, but in the striking. And when you watch his fights, we just saw last weekend, Weston Wilson come in, looked like he never sparred a day in his life. I don't know what the fuck that was. But it literally was almost uncomfortable to watch the way that he was. It was like they just let somebody come fight a professional fighter, and the professional fighter was like not taking it easy on him at all. And so that was very uncomfortable to watch. But if you watch Sam Patterson fight, it's not that bad. But he really does not have great striking defense and reacts very poorly to getting hit. And Yohan is not a fantastic fighter. He's not a future champion or anything like that. He doesn't do a lot of things great. But what he does do is he does throw fucking hard. And when he throws hard, he's pretty accurate with it. Even in the fight versus, is it Darian Weeks? His last fight? Even in his last fight when he couldn't find the finish because he won a decision that he probably shouldn't have won. But even in that fight, he was still landing on the button, even through 1, 2, 3 rounds. So I actually like Yohan here. He does one thing really well, and I think that is basically the kryptonite of Sam Patterson. And I think that the way that he got knocked in his last fight versus a 155er, if Yohan lands, it ain't going to be good. So I'm going with Yohan.
No, listen, I agree, and I think that's why he's the favorite here, because of that power. We just watched Sam Patterson knock out. You think Sam manages range well on his feet? I don't think he uses his length well on his feet.
Well, I mean, maybe
that's how a 5'8" guy hit him.
Well, I think the film could be a little deceiving because he is just so long that maybe people are almost like we'll talk about Sean Woodson later. He does use his length well, but even
he does. He's a boxer.
Yeah, even just the visual of somebody so long, it's like, how do I, get in there? And that's what you're gonna have to deal with too, because I got a 75-inch reach, and I mean, when you're at the end of this, I mean, sure. Here's the point of view, Angela. You ready for that? And I'll switch stances. I'll throw that out there, and I'm throwing this out there, and I'm coming in tight.
This is the point of view. I will be looking down at that because you are a small.
There you go. Okay, a little lead uppercut there. A little lead uppercut there.
All right. Anyway, anybody who doesn't know, Jacob and I are fighting on February 9th. And Jacob's about to get mauled.
I'll be throwing my appendages around. You'll be struggling to breathe.
Okay. I mean, there's not a doubt in my mind that I won't be nervous or in any danger whatsoever for any amount of time at all. Like, this will be the type of thing, like, when you roll, you've never rolled with anybody in a gym before because you've never done anything physical in your life. But when you roll, it's just like one roll after another. I feel like that's going to be that. Take you down, submit you. No, you want to do it again? Yeah, let's fight again. Trip you, throw you around. You want to fight again? Let's fight again. Just over and over and over because you are a sad, pathetic little boy. We got Yohan Lainesse, $8,400 in DraftKings. I do think he wins. I do think he's going to win by finish because I don't see this fight going very long. $8,400 in DraftKings might be the sneaky value play of the card. Do you agree, overconfident Jake?
He's going to be in my lineup.
Yeah, $8,400 feels like a good...
He's a hometown kid. They know what they're doing with this matchup.
Probably. I agree. If you want to unlock all the bets, we already have like 10, 12 units of bets on this card going. Jacob's got future bets for UFC 299, I think you had going on, and a couple of others.
I've got another future bet on...
Don't. You can unlock that secret bet and so much more, including
I'm going to talk about it. I'll just wait till after this fight because there's no way I'm not going to talk about it.
Including tools, insight, information, data, round line leans, and 8 analysts. Jacob keeps saying 7 analysts. 8 analysts. He doesn't include the pick doctor. 8 analysts worth of picks, insight, and information at WeWantPicks.com. It is only $10 a month to unlock every single thing. There are no pricing tiers. There's no per event. It is $10 a month. If you want to pay for a whole year, that's $100. Get a little bit of a discount. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. What were we going to say?
No, we have another fight that got announced late last week. We haven't been able to talk about it, and pretty excited about it because it's going to be one of the most incredible lines that we've ever seen. Honestly, I've already bet it. It's at plus 160 now, but we have the fight of the century. You know the actual weight of this fight is that it is the 10th fight of the year, which means that my lock of the week, which hit last week and it's going to hit this week, if we hit it boom, 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 boom. Amanda Ribas could be the tying lock of the week for the all-time record that nobody is ever going to break except for when I do it. Right then, at the Amanda Ribas fight, at the Apex, she's fighting Rose Namajunas, and she is going to pick Rose up and slam her down and just absolutely maul her and just going to dominate that fight. At plus 160, I mean, they opened at 250, and I almost got that, but...
Cool. Next up, at UFC 297, we have Gillian Robertson taking on Polyana Viana. Gillian Robertson, 12-8 overall. 3-2 in her last 5. She's coming off that decision loss to Tabatha Ricci. She's taking on Polyana Viana. Polyana Viana is 3-2 in her last 5. She is coming off the submission loss to Eisman Lucindo, but she is 13-6 overall. Good amount of experience. Plenty of finishes in there. Gillian Robertson is a grappler. She averages a little over 2 takedowns per fight. She has 9 submission wins, and she actually has the record for the most submission wins in women's flyweight history. Her ability to get women to the ground and submit them is insanely important, and she's very good at it because that's the only way she's going to win fights. Striking is not very good at all. It's not good enough to hang around in most of these fights. She's got a negative striking differential. She doesn't do that well striking, and even though she's such a very good grappler, it's all offense. Tabatha Ricci sort of exposed that a little bit when Tabatha was able to get the takedowns, able to hang on top, and Gillian didn't have much to offer on her back. But going forward, pushing the grappling pace, Gillian Robertson is the most dangerous woman in this division. She's taking on Polyana Viana. Also a grappler. She's got okay hands, but very, very dangerous. She's got 4 wins in the UFC. All 4 of them are by finish. She is finish or bust. Absolutely. She's either going to win early or lose a decision. She sets a hard pace. She does struggle with some takedowns. She only has a 33% takedown accuracy. Oftentimes, she's going to rely on you to take her down so she can make something happen from there. She is coming off that first-round submission loss to Eisman Lucindo, where Eisman just came forward, bullied her, got her to the ground, got it done.
Second round.
Second round? Oh, well, either way. I'm not a huge fan of Gillian Robertson's style. I'm not a fan of these very, very good, dangerous grapplers who don't also have fantastic wrestling, who haven't also improved their striking. I'll never understand that. I'll never understand. She has the most submission wins in women's flyweight history. And I guarantee if we had a surveillance camera in that fight camp, it is 90% grappling. And I get it. Continue to sharpen the tools you have, but why don't we improve the other ones so that if you do end up in a situation like you were against Tabatha Ricci, you can rely on something else. Criticism aside, I don't think that matters here. I think she will get Polyana down, and I think she will win this fight. Whether she submits Polyana or not, Polyana's a very good jiu-jitsu practitioner herself. Yes, Eisman Lucindo finisher, but Eisman's a beast. I think Gillian's going to win this fight. I'm pretty confident in Gillian to get it done. As confident as you can be in somebody who really only has one path to victory. But Gillian should be able to get this to the ground, control Polyana, potentially submit Polyana, and get this done. Polyana does have a little bit of power in her hands. I don't think Gillian's going to mess around the feet. And Gillian is insanely tough. So I don't think we have to worry about Polyana hitting her and breaking her or anything like that. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Yeah, let me just start off by saying that, and I kind of mentioned this in my quick pick video as well, that I'm all for women empowerment. And I think eventually we should have like an all-female pay-per-view card. I think that would be absolutely incredible. I'd be first row for it. And I say that because both these females, I just wish both could win. Angelo, you know what I'm talking about? I wish there was a way that both these girls could get $50,000 or maybe even $100,000 and really both come out as champions, because I'm a big fan of both of these, right? Gillian, how you doing? A big fan of your work. Polyana, a big fan of you. Definitely a big fan of your work as well. And in this matchup, to put biases aside, I will say that Gillian, I know you kind of give her crap a little bit for her striking, and for good reason, right? It's a little bit behind to where it should be, but she's still pretty young. I mean, it feels like Gillian has been around forever, and she's like this savvy veteran. She really kind of is with experience, only 28 years old. So
that is crazy. When I do these graphics, I'm always like, there's a few people, Max Holloway's one of them, and Gillian's another one, where every time I'm like, Jesus, that's
she's just been around forever. But I think now is the point, and I think this is the fight where, because you mentioned Polyana. Polyana's going to be the better striker. striker. I know she got that knockout versus Jinyu Frey, but that was kind of like a flash weird thing, and Jinyu Frey's like 48 years old at that point or whatever. And, Polyana, what she wants to do, honestly, is play off her back. I mean, a lot of arm bars, a lot of submissions. That's where she's kind of the most comfortable, even though she's going to be the better striker. I say this because if you're Gillian in this matchup, this is a good matchup to it's almost like a show me type fight. Show me that you are improving. I want to see, you can stand with Polyana for a little bit because she's not a super powerful girl. I want to see some improvements. I want to see some striking to set up some improved takedown. I want to see not the Gillian that just kind of like hangs on a leg and then might pull back to guard knowing that you can try to sweep a girl. I don't want that Gillian in this fight. I want you to show improvements in the striking, level change like a wrestler, get on top, and once you get on top, really chase that submission because Polyana, as good as she is off her back with like the triangles and the arm bars, that will kind of throw her out of positions as well, and you can find that submission win. So I think Gillian can get the takedowns, and once she's on the ground, she's shown that she can dominate the fight. I don't know if she's ever lost anybody that she was the better grappler. I think every time that she's the better grappler, she wins the fight and almost finds a finish too. So I like Gillian here to get it inside the distance, but damn it, I just wish, I'm sorry for cussing, but I just hate seeing women lose, Angelo. I can't do it. It hurts my heart.
I hear you. No, you are a man of the women. You've surrounded yourself with women, right? You got a lady dog.
I do have a bitch.
I think that's sort of where that ends, your interaction with women. Actually, you come over, you talk to my wife sometimes.
Well, not willingly.
She and never alone.
She kind of corners me sometimes, and I'm like, oh, God. That's why I wear my life alert when I go over there.
Still got a strong woman's talking to me. I don't know what to do. Anyway, $9,100 in DraftKings. That is tricky because while Gillian, the most accomplished grappler in this division, as far as fighting is concerned, Polyana's, is she a BJJ black belt? If she's not,
I think she's a brown belt, honestly.
Like, she's very good, and she's at a good team, training with all the right people, and I don't know if Gillian's just going to submit her like it's no big deal. So I don't think Gillian's going to be worth the $9,100. I think this might be a decision.
It says, sorry, go ahead.
I think it's... I'm going back and forth here because while
she'll submit her if she
it should be. That's what it should be. But Polyana's like tough. And like I know Eisman just submitted her, but Eisman and Gillian are very different people.
And it's I don't know how trustworthy. It says on the Wikipedia she's a brown belt still. I don't know how trustworthy that is. So I'm on the
So I'm going to go to her OnlyFans and see if she has it there.
I'm on the Instagram right now, and I'm looking for a belt. But honestly, there's not even a lot of pants being worn in this. So I don't know. Like, I'm trying to find the. I'm trying to do my research, guy. I mean, this is how hard I'm working for you guys. I'm on the Instagram right now, really trying to find, and I'm
sure.
Oh, there. Well, it's funny. There actually is one, but it's from 100. I am 147 weeks deep right now, and there's a picture of her with her brown belt. So.
Well, there you go. So I think Polyana's jiu-jitsu should be good enough to not get submitted here. She is tough. She is skilled. And Gillian should win this fight for sure. But, I don't – it may be a trap. That whole most submissions ever – that all might be a little bit of a trap here. But if you want to unlock all the bets, I do have Gillian Robertson. I got some stuff going on there. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. It is only $10 a month. And if you want to take a look at the wild success that was last weekend, the wild success that was UFC 296, I mean, we're just handing out units. We're just doling out units.
Update.
To anybody who wants them.
34 weeks ago. She's got toes are looking nice. Fingernails are looking nice, and she's sitting crisscross applesauce with her gi on and a black belt.
See? There you go. So I don't think Gillian is going to submit her.
No, she's going to submit her.
I'll bet that. Polyana. Would you like to bet that?
Well, I already have it bet, but yeah, if we want to.
No.
You lost money to me last week when you were arguing the same thing with Josh.
Yeah,
he's not going to finish the fight. He's not going to finish the fight.
I don't have a.
He's not going to finish the fight.
All right, $100. You're saying Gillian wins by submission. I'm saying no, $100.
That's fine me, yeah. Well, I mean, I should get the odds on that. You didn't get even get
excuse
odds
me, we already agreed.
That was like plus 400. I played straight up because I'm so confident. I'll do the same thing here. I don't give a fuck.
Honestly, if you look at my bets on premium, I hope I lose that. I'm happy to pay you. Happy to pay you. WeWantPicks.com. Click become a member. Next up, at UFC 297, we have the rematch that everybody has been calling for. The rematch of the century. I saw custom graphics on Ramon Taveras' Instagram page with like a UFC poster, a huge number 2. Like, they really are. They built him custom graphics for this rematch. So apparently this is a big deal. But we got Sidey taking on Ramon Taveras. Sidey 10-1 overall, 5-0 in his last 5. He's officially making his UFC debut. The first fight happened on the Contender Series, taking on, right? That's a nice graphic. Like, they're like doing something with this. That's the one I saw on his Instagram page. It's nice. I saw that and I was like, oh, what is? And then I had to look a little closer. Like, what the hell is this? Anyway, he's taking on Ramon Taveras.
God damn.
It's not.
Gosh, I don't know if that's gonna. Oh my god! Jeez. Oh god damn! Jeez, Ramon, not a baby.
Ramon, 9-2 overall, 4-1 in his last 5, and he's got that lone loss. Well, not lone loss. What am I talking about? But that one loss in his last 5.
Angelo's little.
No, the lone loss was for the last 5.
Of course not. Because you're gay.
That was 3 months ago to Ramon. Ramon Taveras lost to Sidey 3 months ago. That's the lone loss in his last 5 fights. We got Sidey. As I mentioned, he won this fight already. He's tall. He's long. Good striker. He can grapple as well. He's a powerful guy. But despite being so tall and long, he does not use that range very well on his feet. He likes to plot forward, keep that jab in your face, throw big punches when he sees openings. He can be taken down. He can get his legs chopped. But even when he is taken down, he's got solid enough BJJ that he can pull something off the back. Taking on Ramon Taveras, powerful striker who keeps his hands low to protect himself from takedowns and then likes to counter-strike his way in. He's incredibly powerful, very fast hands. He stands southpaw and he launches a power left with incredible speed. He does a really good job mixing in shots to the body and then the head while pumping out a jab. Takedown defense is just okay. Decent get-up game if he is taken down. This is a rematch. Serhiy knocked out Ramon 3 months ago on Contender Series. People argue, like Jacob's about to, it was a little early, a little premature. He blasted that dude. He dropped him, and it is what it is. Like, ref stopped it. Dude was dropped.
Dana
was he unconscious? No. It was a little bit early, but
Dana and Mick and Sean were all like, "What the fuck was that?"
Yeah,
I don't think that ref's. I don't think that ref's been back.
It was definitely a little early, but with that being said, I mean, he did connect. He did drop him, and he did have some success striking. There was that controversy, and that's why we got the rematch. If Ramon had a leg kick heavy game plan, I'd be all over him. Sidey gets his legs lit up. Like, his legs can get touched. All the regional tape I watched, it's just right there. He's getting kicked, or people who aren't, it's just there, ready to go. But that's not how Ramon fights. He's a counter striker. He's going to come. He's going to wait. You're going to throw something. He's going to come blasting your way, throwing hands, no real kicks. He will work the body, will come to the head. Sidey's going to be the pick. I think he got to the chin the first time. I think he'll get to the chin the second time. The minus 175 odds, minus 180 odds you're seeing places. I don't know. I can't trust that. Yes, he literally won this fight already. But Ramon Taveras is a good striker. He is a powerful striker. Running this back, who knows? Maybe he'll be a little more cautious. He already felt some of that power. I'm still going to go Sidey. I mean, we literally just saw this fight 3 months ago. He got to the chin. You could argue it was an early stoppage, but it's not as if Sidey was getting was getting tuned up and then landed. Like, Sidey won this fight fair and square the first time. He's going to be the pick the second time. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Yeah, is it Sidey? Do you even know? I'll just say Sidey.
I'm saying Sidey.
I'll just say Sidey. I guess, but
I kept saying that. My phone kept going off.
That's a good point. I'm scared. I don't know what's going to happen if that happens. But if Sidey comes in and if Sidey comes in at this fight the way he came in his last fight, I think he's going to struggle. Listen, people want to act like he I know that he ended up winning that fight by finishing. He did get the knockdown. It did look like Ramon was pretty hurt, but I think he was going to be able to survive that situation. But he did get the knockdown. But if he was dominating that fight, like some people are acting like, oh, he smoked him, he got the knockout, it's a rematch, but it is what it is. Serhiy should be like, I mean, minus 300. Minus 350, minus 400. If you dominated the fight and got a knockout, now you're rematching the guy 6 months later. I have to imagine you would be a monster favorite. Why isn't he a monster favorite? Well, Angelo, thank you for asking. I'll answer that question. Ramon, in my mind, when I watched that fight, was controlling that fight. He was controlling the pressure. He was landing some nice, tight shots, some good shots. And yes, Serhiy was able to find that shot. Maybe he's able to find that again. But when I watch that fight, I see a guy in Ramon that was controlling that fight. Not only that, but he bounced back a month later and knocked the absolute fuck out of a dude. And that was a wild fight. Ramon is a wild, savage type dude, and he will stand in the pocket. I think he comes in this fight a little bit more emotional and kind of fights the way he fought in his last fight. And that was literally, he just, okay, here we go, drop the hands and just start throwing some shit. And if he does that, honestly, pressure Serhiy against the fence, get in that pocket situation. If you let those hands go, I think Ramon can find the shot before Serhiy can. I think he comes in emotional. I think he pressures this guy, gets in his face, and from the shots that I saw in that first fight where he was a little bit more methodical, you could tell he didn't put everything into it. I think in this fight, if he puts a little bit more into it, I think he can find a knockout here. So I'm on the Ramon side just because he's such a wild dude. But in that wildness, obviously mistakes can happen as well. So I like him as a dog here because I think he wasn't getting steamrolled in that first fight, so.
I know, but he got to the chin, and we know his chin can get touched. It did drop him. Was he unconscious?
Well,
no.
It didn't. I mean,
it dropped him.
You should have seen those shots he was eating in his last fight when he was just in the phone booth, that guy.
No, I get it. No, I get it. And you're right. That's why the odds are plus 150 and not plus. That's why the odds are plus. See, now you create an environment where the last thing I want to do is repeat that. So now Ramon at plus 150 makes a little bit of sense because, yes, Serhiy got to his chin, but, it was somewhat competitive. Ramon has proven he can continue to win. So I hear you, but I am going to be on the Sidey side. You are on the opposite side. Is this our first heads-up fight of the evening?
Heads up, 7-up. Yep, I think so.
Do you remember playing 7-up?
I think we talked about it before. Yeah, you always just look at their shoes. I mean,
yeah.
And I guarantee everyone at the first time they did it thought they were a fucking genius too. Like, oh, I could see their shoes. Like, I could see their shoes. Oh my god, I'm a fucking genius, bro. I broke the game. I broke the game.
$8,900 in DraftKings.
The first person that immediately gets called out, imagine their shock when they didn't know people were looking at shoes. They were like,
wait a minute.
They're like, oh my god, this guy's David Blaine.
Sidey at $8,900. David Blaine at $8,900 in DraftKings. I mean, he would have scored that last time. So I just have to assume that pricing is fair. He's in Canada. It's a rematch. He already won this fight. Obviously, things could go very, very differently. They're both sort of young in their careers, but there's some lineups where that $8,900 makes sense for sure.
What was Jimmy Flick? Was he 72 or 79? I think he was 79.
79. Yeah, he wasn't.
I was gonna say, if he was 72, I was like, I think I like Ramon a little bit better than Flick. But even that, I think I might, for the value, I think I might like Ramon. I know he's already lost and stuff, but
Ramon should definitely be in, I don't know about a safe cash game like the one that we play, but certainly in a large tournament, for sure.
He's oh my God, somebody just said that if Ramon is at Team Alpha Male now, I think Team Alpha Male is going fucking undefeated in 2024. I think Jan's going to beat Wei Li. Obviously, Song Yadong's going to smoke Piotr Jan. And we're going to start off with Ramon smoking Serhiy. Team Alpha Male, undefeated 2024. You heard it here first. Trademark.
Well, there you go. If you want to check out Jacob's bets, and if he has any future bets on Team Alpha Male, you can see all those now. We include not only this week's worth of bets, but any future bets we already have on the board. And I promise you, long before we flip the website to the next event, I already have my bets up for the next card because I'm always a week ahead. Jacob's got some bets up for UFC 299, a few other cards. I'm forgetting which ones. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. It is only $10 a month for every single thing we do. Yes, of course, the bets. Of course, the safety parlay, but also tools like the line movement tracker, like the detailed data metrics and analytics, like the DraftKings Optimizer. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top.
his I just realized what his Instagram is. Catch D's hands.
Yeah. And he was knocked out.
Shit.
So
He wasn't.
he caught hands for sure.
He wasn't actually.
Those hands were caught by his chin.
He wasn't actually.
Next up at UFC 297, we have Charles Jourdain taking on Sean Woodson. Charles Jourdain, 15-6 overall, 3-2 in his last 5, riding back-to-back wins. He's taking on the insanely tall and long Sean Woodson, 10-1 overall, 3-1 in his last 5. He's coming off that win over Dennis Bazooka. This should be a really fun fight. I'm going to tell you, I go back and forth on this fight. I break it down. I get it. I'm like, okay, yeah, this makes sense. And then I look at it again. I look at Sean Woodson. I'm like, God, this guy's a fantastic underdog. But let's talk about why. We got Charles Jourdain, I mean. Charles Jourdain.
You know what's funny is my quick pick video when I was like doing stuff, I kept saying Charles Woodson over and over. Because not only for me, but I'm a big Michigan fan, and Charles Woodson, as you know, Angelo.
As I know, you know, sport. Go sports.
What did he win?
The Heisman Trophy.
Oh, that's actually impressive. There you go. And
Go
what position did he play?
He was a fullback.
He wasn't.
This is like that episode of Bad Friends where Andrew's leading on, what's his name? Because he was like Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, yeah. He's like, oh, yeah. He's like, and what number is he? He's like,
baseball
what position
player?
does he play?
Yeah. Or no, basketball player for the Dallas Mavericks. Yeah. No, he's a quarterback for that.
Absolutely not. No, he's a defensive player.
Well,
which is
we got
so rare for a defensive player to win the Heisman.
Well, there you go. We got Charles Jourdain. Air Jourdain is his nickname because he is flying through the air, flipping, swirling, spinning, doing all the things. Really fun fighter. He likes to come forward. He is mostly a striker. He's got a great chin. He's incredibly fast. Great timing, willing to take chances. And I mentioned those spinning attacks. He's not the most technical guy in the world, but he is one of the most exciting ones. He's absolutely a dog. He's going to keep fights ugly. He will stay in your face. He's coming off back-to-back wins, the most recent being the first-round guillotine over Ricardo Ramos, where he did show how dangerous he can be, but also how little takedown defense he has. What?
I had Jourdain submission. Become a premium member today. It's only $10 a month, and I did have Charles Jourdain submission plus 900 on that fight. So,
congratulations.
Thank you
for all of your success. He's taking on Sean Woodson. This guy is insanely long, very lean. He had an actual boxing career before he transitioned into MMA. Reach doesn't normally matter. We broke down Sam Patterson earlier, where he said he doesn't use his reach very well. Sean Woodson, on the other hand, does use his reach very, very well because of that professional boxing background that he carries over in here. His hands are fantastic, and given how good they are, most people are going to try to take him down, but that's not easy to do. He's got an 83% takedown defense, and he's coming off that bizarre win over his short-notice Dennis Bazooka. Dennis Bazooka is a good wrestler with some decent hands, but that win for Sean Woodson was bizarre because Sean Woodson did not seem comfortable in the striking exchanges, and he did work in his own takedowns. All of a sudden, Sean Woodson is shooting takedowns and getting takedowns in a fight that nobody saw that coming. Charles Jourdain, what are his odds at right now? Minus 186, almost a 2-1 favorite here. And I get it. He has more ways to win this fight. He's an absolute dog. He's fighting at home. He's dangerous. He's got a chin. I get all of those things. He should not be that big of a favorite. People are just completely writing off Sean Woodson here. I'm seeing people parlaying Charles Jourdain left and right. I'm not parlaying Charles Jourdain in this matchup. We've seen Charles lose. He's got 6 losses. People are acting like he's the one who's 10-1, 11-0. Like, he's a fun guy. He puts himself in danger sometimes because he is so exciting. And Sean Woodson has proven to us, despite his odd build, he can win fights. He has won multiple fights, multiple different ways, including with takedowns in his last fight. So Charles Jourdain is still going to be the pick because he has more ways to win. He is fighting at home. I am not touching these minus 186 odds. I'm not doing it. Sean Woodson is probably the best pure boxer that Charles Jourdain has fought. And now if Sean Woodson has some wrestling in the mix, it sounds crazy to think that Sean Woodson's going to out-wrestle Charles Jourdain, but we just watched Charles Jourdain get taken down very easily by Ricardo Ramos in his last fight. So Charles Jourdain's the pick, but Sean Woodson's looking like one of the better underdogs on this card. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Sean Woodson is a guy yet. I'll be honest with you, because if you really kind of deep dive into what he's done, I mean, loses to Julian Erosa, which Juicy J, I think he's coming up here in a couple months or whatever like that. But that's
he
not
fights like Charles, honestly.
There you go. That's not a terrible loss because that's a good guy. But then he comes back. He fights a split decision win to Youssef Zalal, no longer in the UFC. And then he TKOs Colin Anglin, who's not really that guy. Comes in against Luis Saldana, who's not really a guy. Oh, I should have been finished, honestly. I mean, Saldana fucked up with that fight, had him dropped, was celebrating. They thought the fight was over. It was a weird situation, so he should have probably lost that one. And then he comes in against Dennis on that was a super short notice one, right? For Dennis came in.
Dennis was short notice.
Yeah, Dennis was super short notice, and you could kind of tell as the fight went on. And Sean was able to do what he wanted to do in that fight, but Charles Jourdain is a little bit different, honestly. When I saw this matchup, before I saw the odds, even as I was breaking it down, because as you know, and we both do the same thing, we break it down before we see the odds, that we can get a nice clear picture on what we want to do. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to get Charles Jourdain as a dog, and he's going to be one of the most fun lock of the weeks of all time. And I was so excited about when I was breaking down the film. I'm like, I'm going to get this guy as a lock of the week because Sean Woodson, 6'4", 10-1. He's got finishes. He looks like a bookmaker's dream, honestly. Typically those guys that bookmakers are like, oh yeah, let me back this guy with the record, with the height, with the length and everything like that. But he is a dog. And Charles Jourdain, I think he wins this fight. I think he's able to close that distance, make it dirty. At minus 180, as you mentioned, with the length, with the improvements that we've seen from Sean Woodson time and time again in fights, I don't know if I'm playing that minus 180. I love Charles Jourdain. I think he does win this fight, but Sean Woodson is a guy that can do some wild stuff. And one of the things that scares me the most is Charles Jourdain, if he brings the pressure, if you get too aggressive with this guy, especially with Sean Woodson against the fence, he is so fucking tall that he throws those knees up. If you try to pressure him and you think you got him, and he just throws one of these fucking knees up, who do we see over the summer? Somebody was pressuring somebody, got caught with a knee, and just absolutely got flatlined. That somebody that never gets dropped. Was it Bill Algeo? I think it was Bill Algeo. Got absolutely, and that's kind of another fighter like Charles Jourdain. Once they get you, they want that finish. Charles, you got to be careful chasing that finish if you pressure this guy. But I do believe that Charles is going to have the pressure, get inside the length, and win this fight. Because Charles really only loses to people that kind of wrestle fuck him. And I don't know if Sean Woodson's the guy that's going to do that to Charles. So I like Charles, but minus 180 is I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we're both on the same page here. It sounds like we have the same read, where Charles should win, more ways to win, but
you don't have
a little bit of wide odds for a good that's that good of a boxer.
And this is one of those situations, too, that I always have to kind of remind myself as well, because I'm one of those gamblers, and Angelo mentioned before, I'm a little bit aggressive than most people or whatever. I like to have action on every single fight, and I have to kind of tell myself sometimes, listen, you don't have to bet every single fight. You don't have to pick somebody and bet somebody every single fight. And I think this is one of those ones where it's like, just sit back, enjoy it, because this could be a finish. It could go to a decision. It could be either side. But I'm going Charles.
Yeah, I'm on the Charles side as well. These odds are just too far gone for me to do anything with. And then you can't even do inside the distance. You can't even do decision. This could go both of these men have fought to decisions. Both of these men are also finishers. Anything could happen here. I'm just going to enjoy it. It's the featured fight. No, it's not the featured fight of the evening. It should be the featured prelim of the evening because this is a very fun fight, and Charles Jourdain is a hometown favorite.
And I think Sean Woodson should be a lipstick model.
Those are great lips.
Those are fucking fantastic lips.
Look at that bottom lip. Dude, if you cover the head or the eyes...
I could Photoshop. I'll do it for you after the stream, but I'll Photoshop out that beard for you, and you can go to town, Angelo, with your.
Thank you so much. Easy with my blanks. Why are you obsessed with my ball bag today?
I think it's because it your shirt kind of reminds me. It's kind of that green kind of dingy color.
What do you think a vasectomy ball bag looks like? Why would it be green?
Well, I know that your hygiene isn't. I know how married men get. I know how married men get. They get a little bit lazy, right? They start putting on the weight. They start going to the bottle. and then the hygiene goes next. So
no, shower twice a day. I like to think I mostly
you get every crack and crevice
good
because there's a lot of them. You got to get those folds.
I watched
600. My favorite show is My 600-Pound Life, and if you don't lift that stuff up and really get in there, that's how infections start.
Nothing needs to be lifted up. I've got a dad bod, not a.
You don't have to
cut me out of the house.
You
body.
don't have to lift up a titty. Be honest.
They're not going anywhere. Look at this. See. Look, come on. Not drinking really got things nice and tight. Anyway. Charles Jourdain. Charles Jourdain, $9,000 in DraftKings. I don't think so. He's going to need a finish to get that money. And yeah, Sean Woodson, I mean, it looks like he can be finished. He basically wasn't finished. Okay. Ew,
you know what I was going to say?
Yes.
It looks like he could also finish the people.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, Charles Jourdain, $9,000. I'm probably going to leave that alone in DraftKings as well because, Sean Woodson can hang tough. Sean Woodson could potentially win this fight. Like a couple of different things going. I'm not going to spend that DraftKings money. Do you think he's worth that $9,000?
I don't know, Brett.
Okay. All right. I mean, you're filthy boy.
I think it's you that gets me going, man.
No. Next up, at UFC 297, we have Brad Katona taking on Garrett Armfield. Brad Katona, 13-2. This guy, two-time Ultimate Fighter winner. He's 5-0 in his last 5, coming off that Ultimate Fighter win at UFC 292. He's taking on Garrett Armfield, 9-3 overall, 4-1 in his last 5. He's coming off his first ever UFC win. I mentioned two-time Ultimate Fighter winner for Brad Katona. He won this last season with Conor, Tough 31. He was the winner of that. He won a Fight of the Night war to take home that belt, but that was not the first time that he was on The Ultimate Fighter and not the first time he won The Ultimate Fighter. He also won season 27, so he's a two-time Ultimate Fighter winner with a submission win over Bryce Mitchell during that journey. So he's actually very accomplished at only 13-2. Style-wise, he's a mobile striker. He's got some okay power. He's got some good volume. And he's primarily a striker, but he is aware enough to transition to wrestling if he's losing some of those exchanges. He's got good low kicks, solid takedown defense, and plenty of cardio. He's taking on Garrett Armfield. He's a technical striker who doubles up his jab, switches his stance well, always working forward, but he's going to stay controlled, and he doesn't take too many risks. He does a really good job kicking the legs before coming up to the head. He's got solid takedown defense, and while he doesn't typically look for offensive takedowns, when he does, he's got some clean power shots, and he works them in well. He's coming off that knockout win over Toshiyuki Kazama, where his striking looked really good, and he touched him up early. This is a fun striker versus striker matchup. Both of these guys are busy. They both have good cardio. Both of them can drop their opponents. Neither guy likely looking to wrestle. I am going to pick Brad here. I recognize Garrett Armfield's a pretty good underdog at 9-3. Not a ton of fights, but he's better than his UFC debut, right? David Onama smoked him. That was a short notice UFC debut. He's better than that for sure. But I think Brad at this point has proven that he can win big fights. He's worked his way through 2 separate tournaments in The Ultimate Fighter and won it both times. He won the last fight on a big pay-per-view in a good slot, in a war. So I think at this point, Brad is the pick. I can trust him more. I think he's got the busy come forward striking. I think he can blast Garrett's legs. Garrett is actually probably going to be the more technical striker, but Brad can wrestle if he needs to. Brad's got that confidence of a far more experienced fighter, 2-time Ultimate Fighter champion, plenty of time in the octagon, plenty of stuff on his resume. I mean, he submitted Bryce Mitchell, who I'm not a huge fan of, but I think Brad wins this fight. I'm pretty confident in him, but I liked his -155 better than his -190. But Brad Katona is the pick. What do you think, Jakey Boombaloots?
Yeah, here's what I'll say about a guy like Brad Katona is I understand the record, and I want to touch on that because I believe that if you took somebody that's never watched MMA before and you put them in a room and you showed them just highlights of 100 fighters, and you told them after you watched the highlights what their record was, either maybe they're undefeated, or maybe they're 7-7, or maybe they're 5-13, just so they had a general idea of what a certain fighter looks like, and then you showed them a video of Brad Katona in his fights, I think the last thing they would say is 13-2. And that's just almost gives him credit, because I think a lot of times he comes in these fights not the more talented guy, but he finds a way to win these fights. I think in his last fight, that Ultimate Fighter fight, I think the other guy was a better fighter than him. But all of a sudden, he's landing one powerful shot. And all of a sudden, you're like, oh my God, he just won that round. And then he starts fighting the next round. He's like, he just doesn't look like, he's a little bit flat-footed to me. Doesn't have a ton of speed. Obviously, doesn't have a ton of power. Only 1 KO and 13 wins. And all of a sudden, he just won another round. You're like, how does this guy keep winning? But he is kind of that just winner mentality type guy. He just grinds out the rounds. As you mentioned, will mix in some takedowns if he needs to. And he is just one of those guys that's just very methodical. Just boom, 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 stay in the pocket. He's not bouncing in and out. He's just kind of staying in your face. He does get hit. He absorbs the shot well up to this point. He returns fire, lands some good enough shots, and he wins fights. So coming into this fight, I don't think there's anything crazy special about Brad, except for he seems like he's been durable up to this point, and he definitely is a winner in that mentality. Garrett Armfield, this dude's a dog. To me, I like the way this guy fights. I like his mentality. He came in 3 days' notice, up in weight against David Onama, a guy he had already lost to. David Onama was minus 800 going into that fight. What did Garrett Armfield do in that fight? He fucking took it right to him. He wasn't backing up and, I'm a 3 day, I gotta save myself and I don't want to get finished. I'm a big dog. He fucking took it to him. The live odds after that first round went from David Onama minus 800 to David Onama minus 250. Everyone was fucking panicking. They were like, oh my God, Garrett Armfield is about to upset this dude. It's one of the biggest upsets of all time. Now, short notice, down, up in weight. It got to him. Onama was able to get the takedown. He came in his next fight and really showed who he is as a fighter. And that is tenacious. That is in your face. That is really sharp, crisp, very powerful striking. And I believe that if he gets in the face of Brad Katona gets hit enough that I think he's going to be able to find a shot or two. And even if he doesn't find a knockout, I'm not saying this guy's knockout or bust, but I'm saying that even if he doesn't, he has wrestling. He was at Sanford MMA for a while. Now he is with a Camp MMA something in, I think is it St. Louis? But he's over there with like Miles Johns, with Trey Yodgin, with Evan Elder, and they're all in his corner. So I like Garrett. This dude's a dog. I think that he can grind out a couple rounds. It's probably a decision fight, but if anybody's going to find the finish, I think Garrett could find the finish with the hands. He's a powerful dude for 135, and I like him in this fight.
Yeah, listen, I think this is a close fight. My notes in the quick pick breakdown, I said this is probably a 29-28, and I'm leaning Brad because I do think Garrett could potentially slow down later, and Brad, we know for a fact, does not slow down. He just continues to come forward.
I don't think Garrett slows down.
I don't necessarily have evidence of him.
I watched that. You know what's
down.
funny is I watched his split decision win like 3 or 4 fights ago or something, because I was like, all right, if that's a back and forth affair, let me see how he is at the end of the third round and this and that. Dude, he fucking dominated that fight, got the takedowns, got control the entire time, and that was still a split decision. When they said it's a split decision, they both looked at each other and were like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? It was 30-27, 30-27, and then a split the other way, 29-28, but he looked good, 3 rounds. Wrestling the whole time.
Well, and Dixon Sider's got a decent point. I can't stand this fucking guy either, but a decent point with.
I have a bet that I like, and I'm not going to give it away.
Well, I might look at that plus 3.5. I think that may actually look pretty good. I'll see what those odds are.
I'm trying to
probably because this should be a close fight, even though Armfield's a plus 165 dog. The
minus
books
190.
know. Yeah, that's not worth it. That's gone. Forget it. Never mind. Not worth it.
I got a good one.
Well, if you want to unlock Jacob's bet, weonpicks.com, click become a member. It's only $10 a month. If you're wondering what the hell that plus 3.5 means, you're putting money on the spread. You're buying points on the judge's scorecard. So if you bet the underdog, in this case, Garrett Armfield, at plus 3.5, all he needs to do is win one single round on all 3 judges' scorecards, and then your bet hits. Or he can win the fight outright, anything like that. If he gets finished or if he gets shut down 30-27, then the bet misses. But that's a great bet when you have a big underdog in what should be a close fight. But minus 190, no.
Somebody said that all 3 of Armfield's losses were due to his lack of grappling. One was on 3 days' notice up in weight versus a monster in David Onama. The other one was versus fucking Ronnie Lawrence. Ronnie Lawrence got to out-grapple most people. So,
yeah. Well, not my man, but yeah.
Well, he was about to get fucking smoked, too, by...
Yeah. Was it Argueda?
Argueda.
Yeah. Oh, I love that, too, because I picked Argueda. I was all over Argueda. He was a big underdog, and he tooled him, and then the ref was like, let me interfere here.
And then somebody else said, Brad Katona looking like he's behind his quota for the month. Katona ever come around me?
I saw
both hands on the steering wheel. He does have a crazy look in his eye.
I saw 3 people say Brad Katona looks like a
shoot
cop.
First, ask questions later type of guy.
He acts like that too. In the house, I didn't watch the season of The Ultimate Fighter, but I watched some exchanges and stuff, and I had to watch his tape before UFC 292. And he acts like a cop too. Like just like his demeanor is pretty funny. So anyway,
like that with the belt on.
Yeah, very. And I got tons of. I love cops actually. I'm not like a narc, but I do have. I got
kind of played into that one.
I got plenty of cops in the family. When I said I love cops, that wasn't extreme. I guess I was prefacing I'm not like anti-cop. So I just like people.
That's
for people,
a very
man.
anti-cop thing to say. That's what somebody that was anti-cop would say.
A recently converted anti-copper. Yeah. A recently converted
I'm
F12.
not racist.
F12. And I actually didn't know it because actually all 3 of the my cousins, they're not really my cousins. We grew up together. We call each other cousins because we're Italian. That's how it works. 3 brothers, all 3 of them are cops. And so we all have a group chat going. I love sending them my anti-cop stuff.
Do you have any inbreds in your family?
No, that's your people, Midwest, Southern kind of thing to do.
No, that's kind of in between me and you, honestly. I mean, that's West Virginia, that's East Tennessee. I mean, that's the region there. I mean, you get in those hills, and you know.
How many people that you went to high school with don't have all their teeth today?
Just a few.
Yeah, okay. Every single person I know has all of their teeth. So I think we settled that.
Well, I think the Zins and stuff are gonna help that because everyone in my high school was definitely dipping. Everyone had a can of chew in high school, so I think the Zins are gonna help.
Well, it's funny because my one of the guys I go hunting with dips, and he converted to Zin, and the other dude I go hunting with took one, and he it like gave him a wild, like it like buzzed him good.
Oh yeah. I've only actually dipped one time, and I'd already been drinking. And I remember I was sitting on a beanbag chair watching my friend play Call of Duty, and I put it in, and about a minute passed, and I'm like, oh shit, okay. And then about 2 minutes passed, and I was like, oh shit. And then 3 minutes passed, and I literally from my shoulders to my hips, my shoulders, my arms were completely numb, my legs were completely numb. 5 minutes passed, and the room was just going. 6 minutes
that's
passed,
why I won't tip.
6 minutes passed, and I was literally running down the stairs to get to the bathroom to throw up, and I fucking puked everywhere about 8 minutes into the dip. So
no, I dipped.
Great stuff.
I dipped once, like in high school, same thing, like head rush, buzz, and since then I'm like, I'm not, no interest. It's intense, I don't know what's enjoyable about it. Like no interest.
Just smoke a cigarette. A cigarette won't. A cigarette will make you feel good, but it's not going to get you a dip will fuck you up.
I'm pretty sure we'll get kicked off of YouTube saying that.
What,
that is like, yeah, that's probably way more offensive.
I don't smoke cigarettes anymore, but there was nothing better. When you're 21, 22 years old, this was back in the day when you could smoke inside at the bar. There was nothing better than being hammered drunk, getting a menthol from some hot chick, going out. When it's like right now, when you're hot as shit, you've been dancing, because I'm on the dance floor just dancing my ass off. You're sweating. You go out, you could stay inside and smoke, or a lot of times you would go outside because it was nice and cool. It'd be 20 degrees outside, and you're sitting there and you light up a menthol, and that fucking rush just hits your body. I'm saying,
dude, the pro cigarette stuff will get us kicked off of YouTube.
It's different, man.
Shut that shit down.
2 a.m. menthol at a bar.
Down, dude.
It fucking hits different.
Dude, even Netflix, it's a like TVMA, and it'll say why. It'll say smoking. It's like, what the fuck?
But it's bad. Yeah, don't do it. It's disgusting to actually do it.
I grew up in
the first time I kissed a girl that smoked, it literally was like, I always hear like, oh, your mouth tastes like an ashtray. I don't know if you've ever, but it's fucking disgusting.
No, my mom smoked. She's an immigrant, which I have mentioned. And so she smoked. She's smoking since she was like 6. She's done now. But so I grew up like I was the kid. You don't realize you're the stinky kid. But like I would get dropped off at elementary school. I must have stunk like cigarettes because now,
and pee.
Dude, you smell it so infrequently now that it's like a thing. Like when I smell, actually, I went to Kroger today.
My whole thing is smoke free. You can't smoke anywhere on the whatever. So when I smell it, I'm like, who the fuck is smoking?
Oh, I'm just immediately like, you piece of trash. Like it's just like you trash bag. Meanwhile, from like ages 0 to 16, I just reeked of cigarettes all the time because
you went to the restaurant and it's like smoking or non-smoking. It's like. There's a wait for non-smoking. It's like, all right, we'll sit in the smoking section. It's like, well, okay.
Yeah. And there was no.
Just the same room. It's just the same room. It's just not blown right in your face.
Yeah. Well,
anyway, let's try. You get off.
Let's move on. You're gonna love this next slide. This is really gonna be up your alley. If you sign up today to become a premium member, it is only $10 a month, and you will unlock everything you have ever needed to have success watching these fights, including the safety parlay. In the wild world that is betting on MMA fights, the safety parlay remains a shining star. 70% hit rate. I'm going to pause. 70% hit rate betting on any sport is nuts. Betting on fist fights is an impossible task. It is the most stable bet in this space. That is an objective fact. Period. End of story. I invented the term safety parlay. You're going to see other people saying it. They are copycats. I own safetyparlay.com. That is my thing. WeWantPicks.com. It's only $10 a month. You will unlock this, the line movement tracker, the odds maker, everything you have ever needed, the DraftKings optimizer, everything. WeWantPicks.com. Only $10 a month. Just click become a member at the top. And what I actually should do is the math. It's a 70% hit rate overall. I should do the math on what the hit rate is on pay-per-views specifically. Even though I will say this week's safety parlay, there's a note. Read the note before you go ahead and tail. Next, I don't know what the hell this kid's doing. Am I moving on? Am I waiting for him to finish pinching one off? I don't know what the hell he's doing. We're going to move on. Next up at UFC 297, we have Arnold Allen taking on Movsar Evloev. Arnold Allen, 19-2 overall, 4-1 in his last 5. He's coming off that main event loss to Max Holloway. He's taking on Movsar Evloev, undefeated at 17-0 with 10 decision wins. Where the hell did you go? No headphones on.
What was that?
I said, where did you go?
Well, I had to pee, which I'm a grown-ass man, so my bladder's pretty large, right? And it's a long hose to get that thing out. You got to drip dry that. You got to drip dry that thing for quite a while, and then I had to get a water to rehydrate. So.
Yeah, congrats. I know for a fact your apartment is the size of most closets.
I thought you were going to say,
so
I know
the
for
amount
a fact
of time
your dick.
I'm not. No, you've been on one today with the ball bags and the penis references, so I'm good there. We got Arnold Allen. This guy's a very good striker overall. He loves coming forward. He's got an upright stance, and that helps protect him when he's outside of range. But he likes to come lunging in. He will throw some power. He's got some nice footwork, solid hand speed. He'll mix in takedowns really well occasionally, right? That's not something he's always going to do, but he will mix them in well. And he's got a few sneaky submissions like we saw in his UFC debut. Takedown defense has evolved over the years. Right now, it sits solidly at 76%. He has not been taken down one time since 2018. He has defended 15 takedowns in that time span. He's coming off the main event loss to Max Holloway, which was a very typical Max Holloway fight, right? Just pieced this dude up. He's taking on Movsar Evloev. I think this guy's a killer. Other people will disagree, but I think Movsar Evloev is a killer. And obviously his record indicates otherwise, right? It's mostly decisions. But he's a fantastic wrestler. He uses his striking really well. He sets up his takedowns. He keeps his punches long. He manages range really well. And then he lowers his level and shoots double legs. He'll shuck the head. He'll keep that extended, snatch up a knee, run right through it. Like, his setups are fantastic. His wrestling is absolutely excellent. And that's the difference between him and some other people in this division that want to wrestle. That's why he's averaging almost 5 takedowns per fight, while he has a total of 33 takedowns in 7 UFC fights. He is coming off that one-sided win over Diego Lopes. I say Lopes. I know it's Lopez, but I can't not say Lopes. Because I wrestled a kid, Ricardo Lopes, and it's just like Lopes is.
I don't know why you always try to push this narrative. You fucking hate Diego, and I don't know why. And you will.
I'm about to compliment him, but you're stupid.
You literally said it's a lot. It was a lopsided win. The guy almost finished Evloev.
I said once almost finished. That's not what the scorecards show. You buffoon.
He literally almost ripped his. He had to get knee surgery.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
Anyway, no, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
Pull it up. I'd love to see the pictures from the hospital.
Here we go.
Ass clown. He's coming off that one-sided win over the underachieving Diego Lopez, where he tripled the strikes, had 4 takedowns, and over 8 minutes of control. At no point was he about to lose that fight. There's people out there, including Baby Red over here, that are going to disagree with my assessment of Movsar. He feels that the wrestling isn't that good. The BJJ has holes. He's going to pretend that he was almost submitted in his last fight, which we know was not true. While I agree he's got control issues, you don't average 5 takedowns a fight if you can hold somebody down. Him not finishing Diego Lopez, despite being a minus 1,000 favorite, says more about Diego's toughness than it does about Movsar. Movsar is not very dangerous. He is a wet blanket, but he's a very effective wet blanket. I think he gets all the takedowns he needs. I think he beats Arnold Allen. I'm pretty confident in him to do so. I'm also pretty confident in the over round line here because neither Arnold nor Movsar are very dangerous. The only thing I will caveat that with, it just feels like Movsar is due a finish. And you know how that goes, right? How many times have we seen fighters no finish, out of nowhere finish somebody? This might be that fight. Movsar, Evloev is the pick. What Movsar has recovered after the surgery. So you have implied.
Keep reading.
It just says after surgery.
Keep reading. Below that?
Has posted that he's recovered after the surgery he needed for his knee. You're implying that Ricardo Lopez did that to him and he needed surgery because of Diego Lopez.
You big Isla Lucy fan?
No, I said it earlier. Ricardo Lopez is a kid I wrestled against. I'm all over the place.
Can you break down this
Ricky
fight? Ricardo?
No, and I'm done with your weird whatever you got going on right now. I'd like to see your hands, and I'd like to hear you break down this fight.
He got surgery. It was before the...
Speak like Ricky. Yeah, I know it was. Well, I didn't know it was before, but I knew it had nothing to do with that fight.
Before the Diego fight, it was... let me just say this, Angelo, and this is... I try to be as serious as I can with these breakdowns, and it's the reason why we are so successful. I mean, we won Picks.com, $10 a month. Sure. We're going to dominate 2024. It's crazy. And it starts with fights like this. Because if anyone knows me, and they've listened to my breakdowns, and they've heard me talk about Movsar Evloev before, I have said that this guy is unbelievably overrated. I've said that he is not who he thinks he is. He is not, I mean, he's an undefeated guy, but he's not a dominant undefeated guy. I was going to pick Bryce Mitchell as my lock of the week against Evloev. And we saw Diego come in and start having some success with some scrambles. And I thought, oh my God, Bryce was a better wrestler than Diego. Bryce would have steamrolled this guy. So I have crazy biases against Movsar Evloev in this fight. But I told myself, God damn it, Angelo, for you, for the people out there, for the beautiful women that follow me on all social platforms, I am taking 2024 extremely serious. I have vowed to put all personal biases aside, reassess the situations, rewatch tape to really find out who these people are. And I'll be honest, Angelo, I rewatched Evloev fights, and I came across, and with this opinion, this dude is fucking good.
Yeah. No shit, he's good.
This guy is fucking good. He has good takedowns, and I'm going to say something crazy right now, too. And I want people to because I know that this is a very big favorite dog in Arnold Allen. That's not a good way to say it, but he is like the lovey-dovey pick of this week as far as dogs. Oh, I've seen it all over. He's going to knock out Evloev. He's going to smoke Evloev. I like Arnold Allen. I think I picked every single Arnold Allen fight correctly. All his wins, I said I was a big Arnold Allen fan, and I sat here and I said, listen, I know you guys like Arnold Allen. I do too. He's not that guy for Max. I'm telling you guys right now, I love Arnold Allen, but this is going to look like a situation, in my opinion, where every single person was on Kelvin Gastelum versus Sean Brady. And I keep fighting. I mean, could you imagine? Could you imagine? I mean, being on the Kelvin side, how embarrassing that must have been to watch that fight. But everybody, not everybody, but most people were on Kelvin Gastelum as the dog in that fight. They're like, oh, this is the guy. He's a striker. He's been. I think the same thing's going to happen here. There's a lot of people around now. Evloev is, in my opinion, not all takedown or bust. I think that if they fight for 15 minutes in a kickboxing match, Arnold Allen wins 60 out of 100 times. He probably should win more times than not, but this isn't 95-5. This isn't 90-10. I think Evloev can stand with this guy long enough, especially to get to his legs. And we saw Nick Lentz getting to Arnold Allen. That was a little bit ago. I'm sure he's improved. But if Evloev gets to those positions, Arnold Allen's getting taken down. The biggest question mark you typically have for these undefeated guys, these undefeated prospects, is how do they react when adversity comes? Well, guess what? We've seen Evloev against adversity time and time again. He's a decision fighter. He was in trouble versus Diego. Didn't panic. He was going toe-to-toe with Dan Ige. Dan Ige was kind of dogging in that fight and almost didn't panic in that situation. Controlled the situation. Got the takedowns when he needed. He's been there, done that, and I think he's able to fight Arnold Allen. And this could end up looking like really good value. What was it? -1? Can you go back for me, sweetheart? -170. Now it's starting to get up to about -200. I think it's getting to where it probably should be, in my opinion. I like Evloev in this fight.
It's funny. I've gotten more confident as time has gone on because when it first started, when I first looked at this.
Yeah, Charles. Fuck off, Charles. Sorry.
Yeah, so what he's referencing is how can you compare Kelvin to Allen? They're not even similar, but Charles has listening comprehension issues because that is not what Jacob did. He compared the situation of loving an embarrassing underdog who went out there and shit the bed. That's the situation he compared. Anyway, I think I have gotten more confident as the week gone on. When I broke this fight down originally during the break, like before Christmas. And when I first looked at it, I was like, instant gut reaction, Movsar dominates. Then I looked at it a little closer. I'm like, shit. This might be a problem. Arnold Allen's got that takedown defense. We'll see. And then, I watched the tape and kept going. It's like I'm just getting more and more confident as we go. So you and I are both fairly confident in Movsar to get it done. Arnold Allen, hold on, will be the best fighter that Movsar has fought so far. So this will be his biggest test, but I don't think it's going to matter. Yes, red.
Well, Max Holloway's probably better than
Movsar didn't fight Max. I said Movsar's toughest test.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Arnold Allen.
No, Max is red. Yeah.
I'm gonna put something out there. I think that at one point Evloev drops Arnold Allen.
I mentioned this to you yesterday when we were talking, and is our stream lagging? This guy says it is. Is that his?
I just rechecked it now.
Okay. Well, look at you, proactive Jake. Yep. I said this to you yesterday when we were chatting. I was like, and I said it again here. It just feels like Movsar's due a finish. That's a lot of fights in a row.
I told you that.
No finish.
Dude, we had this conversation.
Fuck?
Dude,
I was in the grocery store and I said it to you.
I said it to you. There's no way you're talking about. I literally am the one that said that. There's no way I'm letting you take this. I'm the one that said he feels like there's somebody he feels like he
When did you say it?
The same conversation that you're trying to take credit for.
I said it, dude.
I literally can remember the moment when I was walking across my living room in my penthouse overlooking the city of Dallas.
Okay. First of all, we know there is no living room. It's
where
a studio,
I literally said that he's
lies.
due for a finish. I was like, he's too good to not get a finish. That's literally what I said. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought.
It's just not worth the argument, honestly.
I agree because I'll argue this for the next 3 hours because I know I'm right.
No, I'm aware of how you operate.
Yeah, there you go. Point proven there.
Congrats. I wonder why that apartment is so void of feminine touch.
There is
your trash personality.
There is feminine DNA all over.
Because of that stupid unfixed dog.
What?
You didn't spay or neuter your dog, and Bob Barker is furious about it.
Rest in peace now there's to the homie.
Lady Delay tripping on.
We might get banned
that was one of those.
You cried?
No, that was one of those, what the hell is it called? There was a movie where, what's his name, was a genie, but he wasn't. The Bernstein Bears.
Mandela Effect?
Yeah, that was a Mandela Effect. We all thought Bob Barker died like 11 times. And then like, Bob Barker's dead. It's like, what? Didn't he die last year?
I keep up with
Bob
Barker
here's
pretty
it.
well.
Yeah, do you? Anyway, become a premium member and you can cut through all this bullshit, not have to watch the video, and get all the picks and bets you could ever want from 8 different analysts. We pick every single fight for every single card. We bet on all the things that make sense. We got Artem breaking down non-UFC fights. I'm giving you round line leans. We're giving you tools, insight, information, and more. WeWantPicks.com. Just click become a member at the top. Next up, at UFC 297, we have what should be a very fun fight. We have Chris Curtis taking on Marc-Andre Barriault. Chris Curtis, 30-10. 30-10. This guy has 40 fights. He's 2-2-1 in his last 5. He's coming off that headbutt no contest against Nasruddin Imavov. He's taking on Marc-Andre Barriault. 3-2 in his last 5. 16-6 overall. He is riding a nice 2-fight win streak. This is an interesting breakdown because while I do like Chris Curtis and appreciate his power, I recognize he's a clean boxer. He's got phenomenal takedown defense. He's got very good power in his hands. And he's got those clean, short punches that catch people off guard. That's where he's getting all of that power from. He'll work in nice leg kicks. He'll touch up the body well. He takes his time with body shots. He's always moving. He's got like a half Philly shell, always moving his upper body there to stay out of the way of dangerous stuff. He's primarily a counter striker, though. And unfortunately, that does work against him because he's given up minutes on the scorecards while backing up, trying to land that big counter hook. He's coming off that no contest with Nasruddin Imavov where he was getting touched up and he did get taken down. He's taking on Marc-Andre Barriault. This guy's a well-rounded fighter, solid kickboxing, good takedowns, good jiu-jitsu. Marc-Andre's typically pressuring forward, wearing you down on your feet. He's got an impressive striking volume with almost 6 significant strikes landed per minute, but he's also hit with more than 5. He's coming off that fight of the night win over Eric Anders where he defended 10 takedowns and had a knockdown, which was somewhat new for him. I'm going to lean Marc-Andre here. And I know what should happen is Marc-Andre just marching forward, plodding forward, should play perfectly into Chris Curtis's style. Chris Curtis is a counter striker, so somebody marching him down should be exactly what he wants, and it should work perfectly for him. That's how he knocked out Brendan Allen. That's how he knocked out Phil Hawes. That's how he, made that name for himself in the UFC. But we are in Canada. Marc-Andre is tough. And I don't think Chris Curtis backing up, looking for a big left hook, is going to win him the fight here. I don't think he's knocking out Marc-Andre. I do think this could look exactly like the Jack Hermanson fight. And Chris Curtis is going to be low volume, backing up, a little too tentative. And the Canadian judges are not going to like it. We got a Canadian fan favorite who comes forward, who puts on volume. I think Marc-Andre is going to steal a decision here. And I like him at this dog money. I have a bet on him at plus 150, I think. And I'm going to keep watching these odds that continue to widen. I only threw a quarter of a unit because I wanted to catch these odds. So I might throw a little bit more on him as long as this continues to widen. But I like Marc-Andre, and I just think it's going to be not a great look for the judges with Chris Curtis's counter-striking. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Do you know the Canadian national anthem?
Oh, Canada.
Oh, Canada.
The maple leaves run in our blood.
I mean, there's no need to be disrespectful if you don't know it.
I thought, honestly, I took a shot.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land. We love the trees and the snow as well, oh yes.
That's not it. That's not it. Is that it? No, that's not it.
Why did you
do your breakdown?
What are you doing,
there's
dude?
no
You just disrespected
way.
the fucking... Imagine if I was singing the
Canadian.
national anthem and you just interrupted me like that, this place would go fucking berserk. You can't just interrupt somebody. Our home and native land.
Our home and native land, true patriot, loving all of us command. I love the trees and snow. Go ahead.
Oh, shit.
That's Maine's anthem.
That's all of Northeast right now, apparently. Listen, I think that we are going to see the Chris Curtis of old. The Chris Curtis that you mentioned that comes in, gets in fights, he's finding knockouts, finding those big shots. The reason I say that is if you listen to the Embedded that got announced today, you can actually find some good information on the Embedded. They're fun to watch, 10-minute episodes, but you actually find some good information. Chris Curtis talked about in the Embedded today some talks that he's had with Sean Strickland. Obviously, Sean Strickland on this card as well. They're best friends. They had the podcast together. And he basically said, listen, Chris, stop worrying about winning so much, man. Stop worrying about winning so goddamn much. And that sounds like stupid advice, but for a guy like Chris Curtis, who once he gets in that zone, once he gets in that flow state, that's where he really excels. And he's like, oh my God, Sean, you're right. I was just so worried about trying to win every moment or trying to win the rounds. I was just so much focused on winning that I wasn't having fun in there anymore. I wasn't fighting. I wasn't being me. The thing that got me there was having fun and having these sparring sessions with Sean Strickland and getting there and ball and rolling with shots and getting that flow state. So I think that Chris Curtis could show the Chris Curtis of old. The thing that does red flag me a little bit is also in that Embedded. He was already pleading.
Practicing backing up.
He was already pleading with Marc-Andre, saying, listen, come forward, please. I don't want to chase you the entire time, because you know how he hates chasing people. He's like, listen, I don't want to chase you. Come forward. Let's have a fun fight. And if they do have a fun fight, and this turns into a just stand in front of each other boxing type fight, guess what? I have to pick the better boxer. And Chris Curtis is a very good boxer. That's what he does best. So if Marc-Andre comes in front of the home fans, in front of, oh, Canada, and really tries to show up and show out, really tries to show up and show out in front of the home fans and stands in front of this dude, I got to take Chris Curtis. He is the better boxer. So, I got to take him. But as far as like putting money on either one of these guys, it's like, Chris Curtis is former back-to-back lock. I mean, I love Chris Curtis, man. He's a former double lock of the week, but he's never won as lock of the week. So my trust in him is a little bit gone, but I think this could be a good matchup for him.
Well, Chris Curtis fights are sneaky fun fights. Like, he came into the UFC, 2 years ago, made a little bit of a name for himself, had a couple of losses, but the Kelvin loss was an incredible fight. He blamed it on the headbutt. And Chris watches these breakdowns because I picked against him in the Phil Hawes fight, and then he was very quick to comment how wrong I was. He's done that a few times. So he's probably watching this breakdown right now. The reality is he's a very good fighter. He's super fun to watch. I agree with your statement. He's the better boxer. And if they're going to stand toe-to-toe and just let it go, Chris has to be the pick. But if he backs up and he's counter-striking, that's his style, that's what he likes to do. In Canada, Marc-Andre marching forward might look exactly like when he flew, Paris or whatever, where he lost to Jack Hermanson. It might look exactly like that, with just getting walked down, not landing the big counter, and the judges just saying, well, I'm going to go with the guy who was moving forward the whole time.
And also, and I honestly failed to mention this, and this is actually a really important part about this fight, is Marc-Andre Barriault actually fought at UFC 285.
Oh,
and I was able to go to UFC 285, where I met Amanda Hebos. It was a lot of fun event. So I actually watched him in person against my lock of the week, Julian Marquez. So there's a couple lock of the week connections here.
Smoked Julian Marquez. Another failed lock of the week.
Excuse me.
He finished Julian. He finished him.
It was a little bit of an early stoppage to me. Julian was doing just fine in there, and it was about to throw a big old right hand. But Marc-Andre,
sure,
he did win that fight, and it kind of broke my heart. But that was a great night overall. So.
Okay. Anyway, $8,500 in DraftKings, $7,700 in DraftKings. There's going to be zero grappling in this whatsoever. So now our DraftKings scores are relying solely off of striking. If you think Chris Curtis gets a finish, then that $8,500 is looking real nice. If you think this goes to a decision, I don't know if either one of them are worth the money. I'm going to have to look at some of...
I think this is definitely... I think this can be a razor close fight. I think this could be fight of the night.
They're both incredibly durable. They're both incredibly tough. And we know Chris will... I mean, that Kelvin fight was an amazing fight.
Right.
And so
he'll
know
put on a show, and that's what he said. He's trying to plead him out. He's like, let's put on a show. Let's put on a show. So...
I have to look at some of Marc-Andre's DraftKings scores in decisions to see what he's what he's putting on the board. Because $7,700 is a good price, and I do think he wins this fight as an underdog. So if all of a sudden he's putting up some good numbers as a dog, I might take that chance. It's at 6 significant strikes per minute landed. Might do it.
Yeah, let me just, Chris, I apologize for him being disrespectful. I wouldn't do it.
I mean, we do tweet and tag and all those things. And
I don't know if he is his Twitter back?
His Instagram is back, so I assume his Twitter's back as well. And I didn't get into all that because I know he watches. I do speak differently when I know certain fighters watch. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I do become a pussy when I'm 100%. Talking about a professional fighter.
Well, because I think
not me. I'll say whatever. I mean, what are they gonna do? I mean, what the fuck?
Yeah,
have you seen my training video?
Here's a peek behind the curtain. Here's a peek behind the curtain, everybody.
Right, here we go. Listen, take this with a grain of salt.
Jacob and I are fighting on February 9th. And I said, hey, let's figure out what we want this to be. Should I buy a wrestling mat? We'll do it in the garage. We'll film it, whatever.
I know where this headed is.
Or should I call the gym across the street? And it's a local jiu-jitsu gym. Should I call them and say, hey, can I use your space and whatever? And then I was like, dude, we should, we're well past 20,000 subscribers. We have a very big, notable gym here in Dallas. We should be doing stuff with them. We should go there, use their space potentially, like something. And we're talking about Fortis MMA. And Jacob's like, I can't go there. Joseph Holmes is there. Because Jacob likes to run his mouth, and Joseph Holmes threatened to beat the brakes off of Jacob. And Jacob printed that tweet and threw it on a hat, and he should wear that hat to Fortis.
I should wear this to Fortis. Maybe we can make up. He said, "Tell your boy Jakey, yeah, I will beat you up as disrespectful as you're being, kiddo. He doesn't need to be on any podcast, not because of his opinion, because everyone has one, but the way he's choosing to talk about people putting their entire lives on the line to do this."
So he called you a pussy, and now you're afraid to go to his gym.
Do shit though. Twitter trigger fingers turned to Twitter fingers. That's what that was.
We have a $50 super chat.
Like the stream, baby.
Ricky Chow with the $49.99. Ask the level of confidence on the over 1.5 in the main event. Yes, I agree. Sean Strickland is not a bitch. Dricus du Plessis is not a bitch. Neither one of them are typically finishing people that early. So it's surprising that it is a 1.5 round line.
I would have definitely suspected a 2.5 with even some decent money on the over on that, to be honest with you. And it is a little bit, I mean, minus 245, something like that. So, I mean, but I really thought it was going to be a 2.5 line. I would have played probably the over 2.5 at minus money too.
Yeah, I agree. Over 1.5 is looking good. I think they're both tough. They're both durable. They'll both over 1.5 makes a lot of sense. So very confident in that. Thank you very much for the half a unit super chat, Ricky. Genuinely appreciated.
Thank you, Ricky. Mr. Chow.
Next up at UFC 297, we have the featured fight of the evening. We have Neil Magny taking on Mike Malott. Mike Malott, absolutely it's good-looking. What?
It's Mike Malott.
Yeah, I'm not doing the Canadian pronunciations. We got Mike Malott is at the young, good-looking, up-and-coming guy that the UFC is like, this might be our GSP. And they're putting him in this fight against an aging vet for a reason. They're trying to showcase this kid and build him up.
He's not a kid.
I know, he actually is a little older than
he's 32 years old.
He's aging very well.
He's 32 years old. That's my big thing about this. Everyone always talks about like the young prospect Mike.
Yeah, he's not young.
He's 32 years old. I mean,
well, he's meaningfully younger than both of us.
I mean, we're the same age.
You're not 32 years old. You're also not 6 feet tall. These are just lies that you perpetuate.
I will be 32 years old, and
to hopefully impress the three women.
If we were in,
you see it.
No, if we were in low lighting, me and Mike Malott, you could not tell the difference. You could not tell a difference between me and Mike Malott, and possibly me and Neil Magny as well. I mean, honestly, he's a good looking dude as well. So, if low light, you couldn't tell the difference between all three of us.
Sure, no, I'm with you. Anyway, we got Neil Magny 28-11 overall, 2-3 in his last 5. He's alternating wins and losses, taking on Mike Malott. 5-0 in his last 5, 10-1 in his career. And all 10 of those wins are by stoppage. That is a Gabriel Bonfim style PTSD record, but Mike Malott is dominating these people and winning by finish. Neil Magny, I mentioned, aging vet, but he is an incredibly well-rounded guy. He seems to be the UFC's go-to guy when they want to test a young up-and-comer, test a prospect, and see what they're going to get out of him. He's very tough. He's very experienced. He's skilled everywhere. Mostly, though, busy come-forward striker. He does have solid grappling as well, with an average of more than 2 takedowns per fight. He is 21-11. 21-11 overall. 21-11. I just keep repeating that because that is a ton of fights, and he has fought the who's who of the division.
Excuse me. Pete and Repeat were in a boat. Pete fell out. Who was left?
His last 3 losses were to Gilbert Burns, Shavkat Rakhmonov, and most recently Ian Gary on just 2 weeks' notice. He's taken on Mike Malott. This guy's a pretty well-rounded guy. Very nice loose striking style that allows him to box and kickbox comfortably. He's technically sound. He manages range really well. He does not have any specific background. He's this new age of just pure MMA fighter. He does have solid grappling skills, solid wrestling, and pretty much that's what you're going to get out of him. He's going to come forward, he'll strike a little bit, but then work in the grappling. He's got 4 fights in the UFC umbrella, 2 knockdowns, a knockout, and 3 submission wins. The most recent one was over Adam Fugit in the second round. And every time I see Neil Magny on a card, I immediately say, wow, this guy's really good. This is going to be a tough fight. He has beaten Anthony Pettis. He's beaten Robbie Lawler. He beat Jeff Neal. And those were all true statements at that time. But now we're several years removed from some of those wins. And the last few years have not been too kind to Neil Magny. Even his wins over Daniel Rodriguez and Philip Rowe, those were less of Neil Magny wins and more of losses from their opponents. Daniel Rodriguez gave that fight away. Phil Rowe gave that fight away. Like, Phil Rowe was making terrible decisions in that fight. Clearly winning striking exchanges, choosing to grab, made no sense. He gave that fight away. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because Neil Magny has fought some of the best in the world. He's beaten people almost exactly like this, right? They gave him Phil Rowe. He beat Phil Rowe. But I don't see that happening here. I think Mike Malott's... What are you doing? What?
Kind of said that he beat Anthony Pettis, but...
When he fought. I meant to say fought Anthony Pettis. Anyway.
Did he fight Anthony
No, he beat Anthony Pettis, dude.
He
You
didn't
fucking...
fight Anthony Pettis. Anthony Martin. But he fought Ricky Martin.
No, he beat Anthony. Hold on.
Right.
I will look it up while you're talking.
I'm looking at it right now. So
Let's see. Neil Magny.
he beat Frank Camacho.
Hold on. P-E-T-T.
He beat Tim Means.
Wait, are you on Tapology or UFC?
Dog is my choice of...
All right, so maybe I'm wrong, which is few and far between. He did not fight Anthony Pettis. Shit. Anyway.
Did you mention that in your quick pick too? It's on the script.
No. I do think Mike Malott wins this fight, though. I think he's going to come forward. I think he'll get his takedowns. Gilbert Burns took down Neil Magny, no problem. And obviously Mike Malott is not on the Gilbert Burns level. But I do think Mike Malott's going to come forward.
Someone said that's an AI-generated fact. It's a chat GPT thing there.
But Neil... Very good, very experienced. Could squeak something out with some veteran savvy, but I think Mike Malott's going to get it done. We have not seen him in a war yet. I have that parlay, him and Jasmine. That was going to be the safety parlay. It is not, because I'm getting the Gabriel Bonfim vibes from Mike Malott. He's never been to a decision. Don't know what the hell that's going to look like if Neil stays tough, but Mike Malott's going to be the pick. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Yeah, I mean, fuck, man. I just don't know how anyone at this level, and this isn't going to be like, it's going to be kind of disrespectful to Neil Magny, but not really, because the people that he's fighting in his career are top guys, right? I mean, he is there as like kind of the gatekeeper now. So everyone that he's fighting are really good fighters. None of these guys that he's fighting should lose to Neil Magny. They are better than Neil Magny. The only way that Neil Magny beats you is if you get into a clinch battle with Neil Magny. Why people keep doing it, I fucking don't know, Angelo. I sat here and pleaded with Phil Rowe. I said, Phil Rowe, if you just stand in front of him and Neil Magny will let you pressure him and he will put his back against the fence and he will just open arms, basically be like, please come into the clinch because this is where I fucking live. If you just keep your distance and you just fucking box him, you could put this guy out of here and get your fucking big win and be a dude in the UFC. What did Phil Rowe do? Had the pressure, got him against the fence, pop, 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 boxed him, had him hurt. Woohoo! Let me go in for a hug. He started hugging Neil Magny. All of a sudden, it's the second round. It's the third round. You're gassed, and Neil Magny won the fight. Mike Malott, don't hug this guy. Stay at distance. If you want to get a complete takedown and use grappling, that's fine. But the hugging against the fence, if you do that, he will hold you, he will grab you, he will wear you down, he will survive the first round, and then all of a sudden, as you mentioned, Angelo, not a lot of experience out of the first round. This guy, Mike Malott, will be in the second round with a savvy veteran, be a little bit gassed, and then what do you do when you're gassed, Angelo? You fucking just sit and you hug even more, and all of a sudden, Neil Magny has won this fight. So Mike Malott, just fucking smoke this dude like you should. Get out of the fucking clinch. If he wants to, get the fuck out of there. And fucking just smoke this dude. So he should win, but, I mean, Neil Magny's done it before. So, I mean, if he does it again, it's like he just baits people into these fucking just clinch battles. And he just squeaks out these decisions. But Mike Malott's a better fighter.
I agree. Here we go. So I went through Neil's record. I was wrong about Anthony Pettis.
It was a grappling match.
No. He has beaten, he has multiple champions, multiple UFC champions. Okay, here we go. He beat Hector Lombard. Hector Lombard, not a UFC champion, but one of the greatest Bellator champions.
And you're talking about 10 years ago at this point. Who gives a fuck?
I get it. That was what I said in the breakdown. Jesus,
that's what somebody said. Somebody on Twitter said it because I posted a poll on who should be lock of the week, and I didn't include Neil in the poll. And somebody was like, "Where is Neil's button in the poll?" I said, "I think it's back 5 years ago is where it's at."
He beat Johnny Hendricks, former welterweight champion of the world. Beat Carlos Condit, former welterweight champion of the world. Beat Robbie Lawler, former welterweight champion of the world. He beat 3 former welterweight champions and the greatest Bellator champion of all time. But to your point, that was a long time ago, and that's sort of what I was alluding to in the breakdown, that those days are behind him, and I do have it stuck in my head that he's still that guy. But he's not that old. How old is he? 36? He's not that old, but that's pretty fucking aging. Old. I mean, we just watched Andrei Arlovski at 45 actually look okay.
Dude, I wish I wasn't, because that's another one that you mentioned, the Joseph Holmes thing. That was another guy that kind of snapped back at me was Waldo, and that's
yeah.
So I was very pro Waldo in my last breakdown for his fight thing, saying that he should smoke him, and he's showed improvements and this, and then he goes in there and acts just like the Waldo that I fucking trashed in that first breakdown when he got all pissed off. This dude's a fucking clown, dude. Jesus Christ.
Well, anyway, both of us are on the Mike Malott side. Both of us pretty confident. $9,300. If you think Mike Malott is going to get that aging vet out of there, as he has in all of his 10 wins, he's going to be worth that $9,300. It's just that simple. If you think Neil Magny is going to hang tough, and this is not a Gilbert Burns type situation, then no. Fade the 9,300. I don't think Neil wins this fight, though, so I don't think that 69 is going to be worth it, even though that is some very good underdog money on a very, very accomplished veteran. If you want to unlock all the picks, the bets, the round line leans, and everything else from not just Jacob and I, but 8 total analysts, just go to WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member at the top. It is only $10 for an entire month's worth of picks, bets, insight, and tools. We have a $5 super chat from Max Blanco. He said, dono time. This is entertainment at its best. Well, Matthew, or Max, I don't know what the fuck I said, Matthew. Max, we appreciate you. Thank you very much for the $5. And
whoa. No, I have a bone to pick with this bitch. Max Blanco was a guy in the live stream, because you always hear, if you don't pay
Oh,
attention
that
to the
was
live stream,
who I was watching live. It was him?
Yeah, that bitch. Because there's always these people that just run their mouths the entire live stream. I've hit this, and I've hit this, and I'm the man, and I haven't missed a bet. So what we do, get this thing off my screen.
I'm just showing this dude's all love right now.
I know, I'm telling you right now. And
maybe
maybe he didn't know. Maybe he moved on or whatever. But he was all, and I'll keep track of that. Live stream, I'll keep track. Who keeps saying that they're winning. So we'll get 4 or 5 deep. And what we do in live streams, we put somebody's name on the board. They give a bet to the chat, and we see if they're a winner or a loser. A lot of times I'll call these people out. Okay, you've said you've hit 5 straight fucking bets. Guess what? Give us a bet right now. And 95% of the time, they give us a bet, it fucking loses. So Max Blanco was in there in all caps. I'm doing the best. So I said, Max Blanco, this next fight, give us a fucking bet to put on the board. What do you got for us? Chirp, chirp. Chirp, chirp. Chirp, chirp. It was crickets. Guy never showed up ever again to give us a chat bet. So we appreciate the $5 donation. We appreciate the support. And maybe you just happened to leave or whatever. But we were very disappointed on the stream that you did not give us a bet.
I heard you ranting and raving, but I didn't see
it really pissed me off. We were like, where's Max at?
I heard all of that. I didn't know what led up to it, but thanks for the $5, Max. Sorry that Jacob treats you that way. $4.99 from Siggy. Siggy said he needs premium to hit this week because he got clapped on Wild Card Weekend. That sucks. Sorry about that, Siggy. If you were a premium member last week, which hopefully you were, that should have made up for whatever football bets you had going on. Thank you very much for the $4.99. Let's go ahead and break down this next fight. Next up at UFC 297, we have the co-main event of the evening. We have one of 2 Amanda Nunes belts that have been vacated getting put together. We got Raquel Pennington fighting Mayra Bueno Silva for the vacant bantamweight championship. Raquel Pennington, 15-8 overall. 5-0 in her last 5. She is riding a nice 5-fight win streak. She's taking on the always dangerous Mayra Bueno Silva, 10-2 overall, 3-1-1 in her last 5. She's coming off that win over Holly Holm, which was overturned because of some Ritalin. So it was a USADA issue. They overturned it, but it was ADHD drugs, not performance-enhancing drugs. The odds on this surprised me quite a bit. We have Raquel Pennington, tried and true veteran at this point. She's been fighting the top of the division for 10 years. This is her 2nd title shot. What the hell are you laughing at?
I was fucking spit. Because somebody said she's got them lips, and I immediately just envisioned Sean Woodson.
Sean Woodson.
I think Sean might have better lips, honestly.
Those were, once you pointed that out. Anyway.
Jesus Christ.
Raquel Pennington fighting the upper
back
echelon.
For us real quick, if you don't mind. Just right back to the Sean. Just real quick.
It's not quick. Raquel Pennington has been fighting. I just
need it real quick, if you don't mind.
The upper echelon of the division for about 10 years, and this is her 2nd title shot. If you look at her record, she has only ever lost to some of the best women on the planet. Her last losses have all been to former champions. She marches forward, she's got strikes, and then she will control you against the cage. She's a pretty boring fighter because she does have that grappling style, but she's not even looking to take you to the ground. She's looking to hold you against the cage, remove any tools, remove any danger, and just camp out and ride out a decision. She's dominating with control time. She's dominating with pressure. But again, not the most exciting fighter in the division. She's got fantastic cardio, though. She's very good everywhere. She's coming off the very close win over Ketlin Vieira, where she had the more accurate strikes, but 2 failed takedowns. And she did give up almost a round of control herself. She's taking on Mayra Bueno Silva. She's a pretty good striker, solid power, good kicks. She likes charging forward, throwing from there. Very good grappler as well, but like so many others, she has terrible takedowns and can't get it to the ground. She is very dangerous. One of the more dangerous women in the division, especially on the ground. I mentioned that Holly Holm win. She was losing that first round to Holly Holm. Objectively lost that round. It's on the judges' scorecard. She lost that round. All 3 judges said Holly Holm won that round. But it didn't deter her. She came out in the 2nd, got pushed up against the cage, and then sucked up that, what was it, a power guillotine or a good old-fashioned guillotine against the cage?
Oh, my God. How embarrassing. What belt are you?
Okay, that's what I thought.
It was a ninja choke. It's the same one that Britu got on JSP.
She sucked up that choke.
Do you know a ninja choke? You got to feed that forearm under.
Okay.
Get through.
Wow, that's impressive.
Well, it's like it's actually a choke we might see more and more because instead of getting that strong overhook, right, and holding on that overhook, a lot of people are getting out of the position by sliding that forearm under, locking it in, and getting out of the position that way. So you'll see it more and more.
Yeah, thank you for that. Also, buy a tripod for your camera and take it off your monitor because the thing shakes like crazy.
Well, my other camera.
I know the update on
So
Mac
now
OS
this
screwed
one is-
everything up. Yeah, I got
I
you.
mean, you're the one that was like last stream,
And I fixed and I made adjustments and I fixed it.
Does it still move? Back up and let's see a little dance, see a little twirl.
No, see, I turned off the movement. Anyway,
It actually moved a few times while you were.
did it?
It really did, yeah. I would bet you.
So she
any amount of money.
submitted Holly home, and they took that win away from her because of the Ritalin in her system. I am surprised at these odds, genuinely. I'm surprised that this isn't a much closer fight. I'm not surprised that the line hasn't moved. I think people see the line, they don't know what to do with it, so it really isn't moving. For open at minus 155, sitting at minus 157, there haven't been a lot of peaks and valleys in there. With that being said, the reason I'm surprised is we know Myra is dangerous, but we also know Raquel Pennington is not old. I'm going to skip slides so you can see the age. She's not old, especially for the women's division. She has been around forever. She's incredibly durable. She has fought some of the best women on planet Earth and has been competitive in every single one of those fights. So I am surprised that there is a clear favorite here and it's not closer to a pick'em. I am going to be on the Raquel Pennington side. I do think all the 5-round experience. I do think the main event experience. I do think all of this experience against some of the best women on planet Earth will be enough to win this fight. We know she's got the skill sets. And the only way she loses this fight if she somehow falls into a Mayra Bueno Silva trap and gets submitted. And I don't see that happening. I think Raquel's going to come forward, close the distance to remove any power, hold Mayra against the cage for 15, 20 minutes at a time, take her down, hang out. I think it's a boring, miserable fight, but I think Raquel Pennington wins it, and I think she leaves the champion. My only concern here, she does have a newborn at home, new-ish, 8 months. I don't know what training looks like. Her wife is her training partner. Her wife had a baby. I don't know what that looks like. Yeah. So I don't know how that altered her camp, her preparedness. I don't know any of that stuff. But if I'm assuming she's as good as she normally is, then Raquel Pennington is going to be the pick here. What do you think, Jakey boy?
What the
I moved. I forgot I switched slides already.
You talk about. I mean.
Okay.
Somebody actually said it in the chat that said you guys are so. Oh, it was Cadix or whatever. You guys are unprofessional, is what they said. And if you want to put my response on the street.
How far back am I going?
Just 20 or so messages.
You guys are unprofessional. Cool cat picture.
And then what my response was. Let me just see what it was.
Hold on.
Right there. It should be right there.
I don't see it.
Flash that on the screen. It might hide it from you because I use a bad word. I said,
Streamlabs may have deleted it. Yeah.
I said, fuck you. Listen, in this matchup, let me just first off by saying that Mayra Bueno Silva, I believe they are the hottest power couple I've ever seen in the UFC. Her and her wife, Gloria DePaula, are fucking holy shit. And I like Mayra Bueno Silva as a personality. That's nothing against Raquel Pennington or her personality. She seems like a nice lady herself. But Mayra Bueno Silva is like a funny girl. She has great personality. I think she would be a great champion for the UFC. I think the UFC silently is probably rooting for her. She's a little bit younger. She's got the whole Brazilian thing. And what I love too is the embedded. It was either the other day, the first one or the second one. It was actually kind of funny. She was watching. She was getting a massage or whatever, but then she was watching the broadcast of last weekend's fight, and they show a trailer of her fight. She's like soaking it all in. What the fuck are you laughing at? So she's sitting there and she's watching it and she sees herself on the screen. She's soaking it all in. She's you can see she's really kind of wide eyed and you see it's almost looking emotional to her. And it's her post fight interview and stuff. And she kind of puts her head between her hands or whatever. And it looks like she starts crying and the cameras are panned on her and she looks at the camera and she says, and she's talking in Portuguese now, but she says, it looks like I actually know English in her post-fight interview, because she does know English, but it's I guess she doesn't know well, but I thought that was pretty funny. Angela's not a very good audience there because he didn't really understand.
I'm reading the live chat. I mean, the chat's much funnier than you. Go ahead.
But yeah, this is what it's going to come down to. I agree. Rocky has a path to victory. This is the Neo Magny path to victory. Grab her, hold her, and if you watched, as Angel mentioned, that Holly Holm fight, guess what was happening? Bueno Silva was perfectly happy being back against the fence, being held there. You can't have that happen. Get away from the clinch, Bueno Silva. Get in her face. Do what you do, because Bueno Silva in space is that crazy pressure fighter, but you can't pressure into the clinch. You can't pressure into the clinch because you're going to pressure. She's going to clinch you. She's going to throw you around. She's going to put you against the fence. And she can do that, as Angelo mentioned, for 20, 25 minutes. She's only got to do it for 15, win 3 rounds, and you're good. I think this is probably a decision fight. But if there is a more dangerous fighter, it's obviously Mayra Bueno Silva. She's minus 500 inside the decisional action. I believe that even if she doesn't get the finish, she's going to stay out of those clinch positions. And when it comes to a decision fight, in women's MMA especially, from what we've seen lately. Now, this is Toronto. It could be a little bit different. But what we've seen lately is that if you are clinching, you are holding, and the other person at least is showing that effort, that they are willing to move forward and everything else is equal, they will kind of side to the person that is moving forward. I think Bueno Silva is going to be the one that's going to look like she's more active in her pursuit of Raquel. So even if Raquel's holding her, I think the judges are going to side with Bueno Silva. She is an aggressive girl and definitely the more dangerous fighter. So that's why I got to pick her in this matchup. But, I mean, Rocky definitely has a path here.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I bet on her. I have a small little bet on her.
What the fuck? Why would you fucking bet on her?
Because I think she wins.
Oh, no, sweetheart. No. No, baby, no. Can we not?
Fucking loser.
Damn it, we got to like that. We have context, I think, that might be able to cancel that bet for you.
I don't know who you're talking to like that, honestly. The fuck talk down to me. What a fucking joke. I do think Rocky wins this fight, and I put my money where my mouth was because fuck it. I think she will bore us to a decision win, become the champion, and retire on the spot. Really send the UFC into a fury of frustration here. But 76. Go ahead.
In my breakdown, yeah, you will sit there and be quiet. In my breakdown, I literally said, listen, Rocky, just fucking hold her for time. If I was Rocky, yeah, I would be. This would be the most boring fight ever. But guess what? Now I'm the fucking champion. Now I'm getting paid like a champion. Now I'm getting the crazy pay-per-view points that I'm gonna get on my my next fight, headlining a pay-per-view. I'm gonna get all those fucking 100 pay-per-view points on that, and
for 12.
But if I was Rocky, I would make this boring. Get your belt, get paid. I don't have any
100%. It's stupid to do anything other. Like I get like where Chris Curtis is in his career. Yeah, go out there, have fun. You can knock people out. You'll always have a spot on the card if that's who you're going. But a title fight is different. Like a title fight, do everything you can to win.
Hey,
even like Anthony Smith.
Hey, Anthony Smith, you should have fucking taken that belt.
Yeah, take the dive. You should have
taken that fucking belt, man. Jesus.
No, do whatever you can to win.
That now. I bet he regrets that every fucking day. Because in the moment, everyone's like, "Oh, he's the man. He's the man." Now nobody would give a fuck. Yeah, nobody would give a fuck. So in the moment, it's like, "Oh, what a guy! What a guy!" Guess what? Your bank account is like,
yeah, life-changing money in the rematch. So anyway, we are split on this fight, but I think we could both agree Raquel Pennington's some good value at $7,600.
No.
5-round fight.
She's gonna hold. I don't think.
And control time scores in DraftKings. You got 5 rounds to work with. I'm gonna look at it a little closer and see, because I do think $7,600.
I think
5 rounds to work with, and all she wants to do is takedowns and control. I think that's worth the money.
I think we have a very motivated Bueno Silva showing people that it wasn't because a lot of people give her shit for that steroid suspension, and I think she wants to come out and prove like, hey, I'm a bad, and she's a fucking, Rocky is tough, right? But Bueno Silva, she's that bad bitch that kind of gets me, get a little tingly, you know what I mean? You kind of that bad.
Well, and that loss, that one loss, she should be 4-1 in her last 5. That loss is a quality loss too. To Manon Farrow. Anyway, I'm going to have Rocky in my lineup at $7,600. I do have a very small bet on her at plus 135. Much better value now. But if you want to see that bet and all the other bets, including a couple of parlays and the safety parlay, which hits at a 70% rate, go to WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member at the top. It is only $10 a month. Next up at UFC 297, I'm about to say some words I never thought I would say. We have Sean Strickland defending the middleweight championship of the world against Dricus du Plessis. Sean Strickland, 28-5 overall. He is 3-2 in his last 5. He's coming off that one-sided win over Israel Adesanya to win that belt just a few months ago. He's taking on Dricus du Plessis, 20-2 overall, 5-0 in his last 5, riding an 8-fight win streak. And I mean, I say that sarcastically, but nobody thought Sean Strickland, even Sean Strickland didn't think he would be champion.
I thought we were both. I thought we were both on Sean against Izzy. I thought we were very. Yeah. No, you fucked everything.
I bet against both of these guys in their last fights. I bet on and picked Robert Whittaker. Actually, they both blew up the safety parlay. Pretty sure Robert Whittaker was in the safety parlay and Izzy was in the safety parlay. So that's 70% hit rate. The 30% of those losses came from these two.
And I don't think I've ever picked against or bet against Streaky. I'm trying to remember, and I just don't remember a
definitely
time.
Not.
I would ever
definitely
be
not
against,
with a blown out red faced alcoholic. Definitely wouldn't have done that. That would be crazy.
First of all, Darren Till should have won that fight. Nearly did win that fight a few times,
which actually is crazy. That's what he says we need to say about Dricus. But here's the thing. Here's this breakdown for this fight.
Bang!
Okay. I gotta wait for this now. Okay. Sean Strickland is a blue-collar striker. Nothing fancy about what this guy does. He comes forward. He puts on volume. He weaseled his way into a title fight, and he showed up when he needed to. He landed a big straight right. It wasn't quite an overhand. He landed that big straight right, dropped Izzy, and from that moment forward, he controlled the pace. He came forward. He stayed in Izzy's face. He never changes. This guy marches forward, lands well. He's got good striking. It's not just like reckless volume. It's tight. It's clean, and he stays in your face. He comes forward. He only spars in the gym, seemingly, so he's got the composure of somebody who's been in thousands of fights, because he basically has been. He's got that composure. He has that control. He can fight at volume for what feels like hours on end. We don't see too much grappling out of him. We don't see a lot of stuff out of him. We do know he can grapple. He's got some belt. I forget, he's not a black belt or something. He's actually He's a high belt in jiu-jitsu. I forget what the color is, but he's got a pretty high belt in jiu-jitsu.
Well, there's only a few.
Well, and I'm forgetting what the color is. Well, more than blue is... Hey, congrats. Anyway.
We got a 1 in 3 chance here.
Correct. Anyway, Sean Strickland, while everyone wants to focus on his striking, me included, he can grapple as well. And when he started his career, that's actually what he was, a 170-pound grappler. And he made the adjustments, and now he's a 185-pound striker who marches forward nonstop. He's taking on Dricus du Plessis. This guy's a pretty good striker. He can work in some takedowns. He's very exciting to watch because he's explosive. He's got leg kicks, good grappler. He hunts for submissions. He looks for stoppages. His takedown defense definitely needs some work. And while he does continue to get quality wins, the fact that he beat Robert Whittaker is astonishing. He is getting win after win. He beat Derek Brunson. Derek Brunson goes over to PFL, huge underdog, boom, wins that fight.
Oh, that actually was at UFC 285.
Oh, and, fuck me.
I was actually at UFC 285 where I met Amanda Hebos. And I will tell you, seeing that towel come, I've never seen a corner throw in the towel for a fight, but they threw in the towel. That was quite interesting to watch.
And where I was going with this is that while Dricus continues to get very good win after very good, beating Robert Whittaker the way he beat him was crazy. He is pretty sloppy, though. Dricus will come forward, reckless abandon, a bit sloppy, a bit loose, leaving himself exposed, but he is tough as hell. He will continue to pressure forward, and now that he had surgery and he can breathe through both nostrils, all of a sudden, cardio is not a concern for Dricus du Plessis, but nobody can deny he's got power in his hands. He's got guts. He's got tenacity, and he will shoot a whole bunch of takedowns. And this is a very intriguing fight. No matter what side you're on, there are hundreds of people in the comments telling you that you're dead wrong. The comment section is wild. Everybody speaking in absolute fact. Like, it's absurd to fathom that Dricus could lose. It's crazy to think that Sean Strickland could lose. And I guess that's just the YouTube comment section in general. But the reality is I bet against both of these guys in their last fights. I tend to feel that both of them are a bit overrated. Sean Strickland being champion is crazy to me. Champion of the UFC is supposed to be the best fighter on planet Earth at that weight class. I don't think either one of these guys are the best middleweight on planet Earth. But what they are incredibly fun. They're exciting. This is a very good fight. I do think Dricus is going to win this fight. If Dricus is going to stand in front of Sean Strickland and try to technical kickbox, he's going to get smoked. Sean's going to light him up with his hands, continue to march forward, and beat him, no questions asked. But I think that Du Plessis is going to march forward, shoot takedowns, throw bombs, do all of those things. And while we did see some power out of Sean Strickland in his last fight, power from Sean Strickland is not like a thing that we normally get. I think Dricus is going to win this fight. I think he comes forward. I think he grinds, gets takedowns, stays in Sean's face. Sean is not going to like that. Dricus is going to be my pick, but low confidence because I fully recognize how insanely sloppy Dricus can be in some of these fights. So Dricus is the pick. But I'm just going to watch this fight and enjoy. I probably am going to bet that over 1.5 round line. What do you think, Jakey Boom Baloots?
Do you, is that Usman's arm on Sean Strickland? You know, they always Photoshop Usman's arm on everyone's belt. Is that his arm?
No. Why do they Photoshop Usman's arm?
They did to Leon just because they didn't have a picture with him with the belt, I guess. So it was.
So they just.
So I didn't know if that was Usman's arm as well. But listen, guys. I have been, and I said in my quick pick video, kind of the captain, the commander of the Dricus Du Plessis hate train, the ship, whatever you want to call it. I have been the leader for the last year and a half, however long it's been, about how overrated and how terrible this DDP guy was. I said he is the middleweight 185 version of Yuri Prohaska because Yuri and him are the exact same people. They just come in, they trust their chin, they're reckless, they're not super technical, but they will get in your face, they will stay in your face until they find a finish, and that's how both of them fight. And I said, when Yuri fought Alex, he will get exposed because Alex is just such a precise striker that you can't come in reckless because eventually you will get caught. That's exactly what happened. He got exposed. So I came in. Oh, guess what? Dricus Du Plessis about to fight Robert fucking Whitaker. One of the best strikers, not only in the division, but in the entire UFC. And not only is he a good striker, but he's a good counter striker. If you try to blitz in, he's right there. He can blitz in and stuff. It's such an accurate striker. I said there's no chance. There is zero chance that this fraud, overrated dude in DDP is going to beat Bobby fucking Knuckles, a former champion, one of the best strikers UFC's ever seen. He fucking smoked them, dude. I mean, he fucking smoked them.
Bell to bell.
He got a takedown. He showed offensive grappling. He showed his power off. He just walked through Bobby Knuckles. And I said at that moment, at that point, he is now on my list of never picking against. The other two people on that list, Bilal Muhammad is never going to lose ever again because I'm always going to pick him. The other person is... It's Macy Barber at this point, but it is me. I'm not going to pick him against Macy Barber again at this point. But Dricus is not the better fighter here. Sean Strickland's the better striker of the two. Sean Strickland's probably the better grappler. And people mentioned in the chat, he is kind of a high-level black belt. But Dricus just keeps finding a way to get these wins. He just keeps finding a way. And people call him a big Chad. He just kind of chads these fights out. And I will say, too, that Dricus Du Plessis, in my opinion, when it comes down, because people always going to say, oh, the cardio. He's 1 round, 2 rounds. Sean just going to run him over after the first. I don't know if that's true. I think he seems like one of these guys that looks like he's tired, probably is a little bit tired, but can work through that type of stuff. Can get what he needs to get even when he's tired. He reminds me a little bit of like a Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier always looks like he's kind of a little bit gassed, but he's always working through it. This could be a situation where the Pantoja Brandon Moreno, when Pantoja dominated that first round, and then the second round started, and you're like, oh man, I think Pantoja's fucking gassing. But he never actually gassed. He was able to, okay, he won that round. And then he won that round. And he was able to do enough. I think there's going to be a moment here where I fully believe that this fight's going to extend a little bit, over 1.5, whatever it is. I think there's going to be a moment in that second round where DC, whoever's on the call, is going to be like, not loving the body language out of DDP right now. I think this is where Sean's going to start taking over. And then it doesn't happen. And now Dricus is up 2 rounds to nothing. And then all of a sudden, the third round, he comes out, and all of a sudden, it's like, oh, he's not fading yet. And I think there's a world where Dricus could win a decision in this fight because they're both durable guys. So, I think that the Dricus is going to be moving forward. I think that he could find a big shot, but even if he doesn't, I think there's a world where he can sneak out 3 rounds in this fight to win a decision. The thing that worries me and the thing I keep thinking in the back of my hand, Angelo, and I'll end it with this, is when we saw Izzy at his reign, and I'm not comparing Izzy to Sean because I think Izzy, even though he got beat by Sean, probably is a better fighter, especially in that moment. But he was coming in, not really a finisher type of guy, kind of the volume striker, if you will, and he fought Paulo Costa. And Paulo Costa was that next dude, the powerful guy, was walking through everyone, was the guy that was supposed to come in, a favorite against, not a favorite against Izzy, but it's kind of like an underdog favorite. Everyone was loving Paulo Costa to come in and really challenge Izzy. We could have a situation where Dricus comes in as that big, powerful guy and kind of gets outclassed by what is a better striker in Sean Strickland. So I'm kind of playing both sides here, but as you mentioned, you kind of have to. This is a close fight. It's so unpredictable. I'm going Dricus here because I can't pick against him, but I'm not playing either side on this. I played the over 1.5 a little bit, but I'm playing DDP here.
Yeah, listen, first of all, chunky nuts. This guy gets it. I've said many, many times we have the smartest community in the game. So
just stand. Just if you don't mind, scoot the chair back, stand up, and
excuse me. I'm breaking this down.
Do a little say, "Get out of my swamp."
Where I do tend to agree with the anti-DDP crew is the cardio. I know there's all these stories. Oh, he had 1 nostril, now he has 2. We haven't seen it tested though. Like that Robert Whittaker fight was not that long. Like we haven't seen it tested, and I do agree with the notion that if we're all of a sudden in the 3rd round, we know for a fact Sean Strickland's not going to be tired, for a fact, and maybe he can just march forward, rack up a couple of rounds, and then steal a close decision if Dricus can't get him out of there early.
I think that's a lazy way to look at this fight.
Well, I picked Dricus, so I'm just saying that is a concern. Is that we know Sean does not get tired. And if there's not an early onslaught that gets him out of there, and Dricus does slow down, which we have seen him do, we have seen him slow down, then it could be an issue. Yes, small red.
I will say this. I've said this about fights before, and I think I'm pretty much right every time I say it. If Dricus doesn't win the first round, I think he's in trouble.
I think completely agree.
He definitely needs to win the first round. So even if he comes in and Sean has the pressure and he kind of drops that first round, I think he's fucked. But if he wins that first round, I think there's a world that he can. I'm telling you, he can win a decision. People act like he can't win a decision. I think he can win a decision on this.
Well, I'm not saying he can't win a decision. I'm just that it is a concern. We haven't seen it. We have not seen good cardio out of Dricus yet. We just haven't. We're hearing stories. He can only breathe through 1 nostril. Now he can breathe through 2. But
the guy's got a massive cock.
Jacob was literally sending me zoomed in pictures of of him in a Speedo on the beach. Jacob's like, that. You realize?
This guy just got out of like 40. He's in Toronto getting in the water. It's got to be just above freezing. Gets out of the water and still hogging.
So Jacob almost went all in on Dricus because of that alone. Oops, I'm all over the place here.
You got a little. Here we go. Yeah, that's the second time that we've brought this up, and you got a little bit flustered. A little bit. Let's see if you stumble over this next sentence. Here we go.
$8,200 for Sean Strickland, $8,000 for Dricus du Plessis in DraftKings. This is a pick your side. If Sean Strickland wins, it's going to be 25 minutes of nonstop pressure, pace, and volume. If Dricus wins, likely a finish. He can win a decision, but likely a finish. Either way, this is a great price for a 5-round fight. You're going to have to pick your side. If you're building multiple lineups, build some with each guy. I think this is closer to 50-50. But pick your side and run with it. I am on the Dricus side. So is Jakey Boy, guys.
And let me like the stream, by the way. And here's basically the entire breakdown, and it comes from Dricus's coach, who I like a lot. If you listen to him, the embedded.
Yeah, I'm the one.
This is what he said. This is him talking about the fight, and listen to the confidence in his voice. And I think this is pretty much how simple this fight is.
Put easy on the back foot. Sean Strickland's boxing the entire time, and he's not a guy that can fight on his back foot. So well done to Sean, but good luck with trying that with Dricus, because Dricus doesn't go back.
He said Dricus doesn't go back.
Hopefully we don't get fucking copyright flagged for that.
No, it should be fine.
But if we do, they'll mute us. We do have a $5 super chat from Ace of Spades. He said, I remember when Jacob made an apology video to Angelo a while ago. That was about 3 full years ago. I hope history doesn't repeat itself after we fight. Thank you very much for the 5 spot. I'm going to remove this so Jacob can see. That was because Jacob, one of his very first fight companions, was like calling me a stupid bit, like saying all these horrible things about me.
I don't ever.
And I was like, dude,
like
what
that.
are you doing? Why would you do that? And I got annoyed, so then he made the apology video. It was all beat up.
And that was on the count. That was on the UFC countdown, by the way. If you were interested in where that was, that's a good countdown. Both these guys are interesting guys.
Become a premium member. It's only $10 a month. Just go to WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member at the top, and you will unlock everything you need to have success, not only for this card, but 30 days worth of fight cards for a full month. That $10 will activate your account. You're going to get detailed data, metrics, and analytics. 38 columns of information to help you find your spots. You're going to get the line movement tracker. This gives you opening odds, current odds, win probability, and line movement for every single fighter on every single card. You're going to get more than just me and Baby Red. You're going to get the MMA Minute. He's got 30,000 on TikTok. He's giving you his picks, his bets, his round line leans. You're going to get Running Mouth MMA. There's 3 of them giving you their picks and bets. You're going to get Artem breaking down not only UFC, but LFA, PFL, and every other regional show as well. And you're going to get the Pick Doctor. He has developed an AI, Pick GPT. This is picking fights based solely off of historical data. All of this and so much more available to you today for only $10 a month at WeWantPicks.com. Just click Become a Member at the top. And don't forget to follow the socials. That costs you nothing.
And I'm verified on both of them.
Yep. And neither one of them cost them any money. Guys, thanks so much for hanging out. I think we flexed over 400.
You have to pee, don't you?
Because you see me fidgeting?
Yeah.
Over 400. I don't have to pee. I'm just sitting here for 2 hours and 40 minutes. Over 400 of you watch this live. We genuinely appreciate that. The almost 3,000 premium members and the almost 21,000 subscribers on YouTube. Guys, thank you so much. Let's have some success. The first pay-per-view of the year.
Like and subscribe.
All right. Oh, shit. I didn't hit end. End.